Tradition runs deep along the shores of the Olentangy, but so do the questions. Do the Buckeyes replace, rebuild, or reload from a year ago? The answers for Jim Tressel's squad will come in time. The 2007 Big Ten football season kicks off with Youngstown State and Ohio State next. This morning's Columbus paper and the comments by Ohio State head coach Jim Tressel. A lot of electricity, and that there is at Ohio Stadium. As we welcome you here for today's game between the Buckeyes of Ohio State and the Penguins of Youngstown State, the 118th season of football here at Ohio State University. And hi, everybody, along with former Ohio State quarterback Mike Tomczak, I'm Roger Twibel. It is great to be with you on this first Saturday of college football right here on the Big Ten Network. Great run last year, Mike, by Ohio State, 12-1 on the year, losing in that national championship game. Not only losing the game, but they lost a lot of offensive firepower from that team.
Well, they lost talent, they lost leadership, and they lost guys that could produce. Now what happens? Are they going to reload or rebuild or replace? Look at the four guys. You got your Heisman Trophy winner in Smith. You got Ginn, the receiver, production down the field. Gonzalez, control receiver. And Pittman was your workhorse in the backfield. You know, when these guys leave, another opportunity presents itself for somebody else. And that opportunity is presented to Todd Beckman. He gets to start at quarterback, and he's got to try to fill the shoes of a Heisman Trophy winner. Well, it's not easy to do. I'm sure Todd Beckman has a bigger shoe than Troy Smith, but, you know, from a standpoint of what it's going to take emotionally for him, he's got to stay in the moment. Every play, he's got to be focused. He's the leader out there. I can guarantee you one thing, that he will be prepared to play. Jim Tressel gets his quarterbacks ready to play, and he will have some success today. Meanwhile, for Youngstown State, their quarterback Tom Zetz making his 37th career start. Well, I can guarantee you another thing. Tom Zetz has more experience than Todd Beckman. Here's a guy that grew up in Ohio. This is a boyhood dream list for him to come in Ohio Stadium and play in front of this massive crowd. He is very productive, has had a tremendous career, and he's going to be the leading quarterback out of all categories in his career when his season's over. Well, Ohio State did lose some very talented players, but believe me, there's still a lot of talent here on this Buckeye football team. You've got some great players on the defensive side of the football, and on the offensive side, you've got Rubisky and Hartline, wide receivers. You've got Laurinaitis, the outstanding linebacker. It's the opening day here in Columbus. Big Ten Network Football is brought to you by U.S. Bank, home of the 5-star service guarantee. By Cooper Tires, don't give up a thing. And by Buffalo Wild Wings, you have to be here. It's an absolutely gorgeous day here in Columbus, Ohio. Not a cloud in the sky. It was nice and cool, almost like mid-fall type of weather this morning, but it's bright sunshine warming up here, and we've got a great day here in Ohio Stadium as we really look forward to this first Saturday here on the Big Ten Network. Also working with us, third member of our crew down on the sidelines, Rob Harley.
Thanks a lot, Roger. You know, all the talk has been about all the new rules that have gone into this season. Make no mistake about it, the kickoff rule is going to have an impact. This season, the kickers are going to be kicking off 5 yards back from the 30. And Mike, as you know, as a quarterback, that really adds the percentages that go way up as the offense is going to start closer and closer to that goal line. Roger.
Okay, thank you very much, Rob. Yeah, that was a conversation we had with both coaches, what they thought about it. The fellow there from Youngstown, he seemed really concerned. Tressel maybe not quite as concerned.
I'm not really concerned because the ball has to be kicked from somewhere between those white lines. They can go back to the 10-yard line if they want to, if we want to see more offensive football. But it's a great rule change. These kickers are very talented nowadays, and the fans want to see run backs. But defensive coordinators do not want to start on the 35-yard line every time. 74 degrees, humidity at 36%, some wind out of the east-northeast at 14 miles per hour. That forecast for clear and sunny skies. Yeah, John Haycock said, I've been thinking about that rule every day since it was changed. Well, let's take a look right now at our Suzuki keys of the game. Well, special teams has to be dominant for Ohio State. If they're going to control this game early, it's going to be because they have better athletes on the field. Control the line of scrimmage. You look at the last two ball games Ohio State played in 2006. They gave up a lot of yards in the defensive line. They didn't control the line of scrimmage on the offensive side. Explosive plays. Who's going to be that next Ted Ginn guy? And they have to control the time on the clock. If they can do that, it should be a nice afternoon for Buckeye fans across the country.
Well, last year, Youngstown State 11-3 on the season, Mike. They lost in the semifinals of the 1AA. They did lose, you know, we talked about Ohio State losing some quality players. I mean, same thing happened with Youngstown State from a year ago, going 11-3 last year.
Especially their skilled guys, you know, production in the running game, production of receivers, but they got their signal caller back and looks like they're going to have a first opportunity to see what's going to happen offensively for them this year.
Pretorius, number 85, will kick it off for Ohio State, and that's a new field down there, Mike. That's field turf.
Well, it's going to be slippery early until they pack it down. They get some of these big road graders, 300-pound guys that pack that surface down. You might see a few slips out there, but Ohio State's been practicing on the surface pretty much for the last 5 years with their indoor and outdoor facilities.
Having a little trouble with the wind and keeping the ball on the tee. Back deep to return the kick for Youngstown State, 4, D'Angelo Wilson, and number 7, DeMichael Horn. So after being blown off the tee a couple of times, they'll hold it there for Pretorius as we get set to go here from Ohio Stadium. And D'Angelo Wilson takes the kick and still going, and he moves up to the 30-yard line, and Youngstown State will put it in play right from there. Chikwa came down to make the tackle on the special teams for Ohio State. There's head coach Jim Tressel, who spent 15 years as head coach at Youngstown State before coming to Ohio State. Had so much success at Youngstown, 4 national titles, and of course has done such a great job here at Ohio State. And there's Tom Zetz, and he is going to break a lot of career quarterback records there.
And he's going to give him the best chance of winning games throughout the year. Keep in mind, this is a big test for him today, but this guy loves football. We'll see what happens in 60 minutes.
And Zetz working out of the shotgun on 1st and 10 with 4 wideouts, and immediately throws it over the far side. The intended receiver over there, Dustin Helly, a 5'6" senior out of Girard, Ohio. And we'll take a look at the starting lineups for the Penguins of Youngstown State. Kishman, Tanner, Malott, Sampson, Theodore up front. Malott and Theodore, former defensive players, have been converted to the offensive side of the ball. Scott, Lane, Helly, Nazari. As on 2nd down, the handoff up the middle, and Jabari Scott takes it, and a good gain right there as he moves up to about the 37-yard line where Kurt Coleman made the tackle. Jabari Scott was redshirted last year, played a little bit back in 05.
Well, here's where Ohio State is young, right up the middle of the field. Well job executing this play from the line of scrimmage. We talked about one of our keys is going to be, can Ohio State's defensive front match up? They're bigger, they're stronger, they're athletic. But when you have your pad level down at the offensive side of the ball, you can move any guy off the line of scrimmage.
They called it a gain of 9, so it's 3rd down and 1 out of the shot.
Take a couple snaps, and he goes, after the first series, I should settle in a little bit.
All right, Rob, thank you very much. So the
throw it again.
Throw it again from the 45-yard line. Both receivers, Hartline and Rubisky, split to the top of the screen. And yeah, how about this? Beckman, straight drop. Now he's going to throw it downfield, and he's got his man. That's Rubisky inside the 15, down to the 12. And Mike Tomczak with some inside information.
I wish I had inside information. I got a 50% chance of getting it right, so I'm going to take my chances. But nice job on the outside. You got single coverage on Rubisky and Hartline. And Rubisky, Brian, does a nice job. Defender does a great job. He's in a good position, but he just kind of gets overstrided here.
42 yards on that pass play.
Well thrown ball, give the receiver a chance to catch it going down the field, but vertically challenged down the field. That's what Ohio State was good at last year. And
the man he beat was Lenny Wicks, who's playing his first game, a sophomore out of Pittsburgh. Sanzenbacher is checked into the game, number 12. He's split to the top, and they want to throw it again. Coming to Rubisky, near side, makes a move and gets down to about the 6. That time they went after D'Angelo Wilson, and these are really 2 cornerbacks that have not played in this program before.
The cornerbacks haven't played, but this quarterback hasn't played much at all, but he gets a little tattoo right there. He's a tough kid from St. Henry, Ohio, but when you get knocked down, you get back up as a quarterback. You never let the defense know you're hurt, but that probably knocked him back into reality.
Now on 2nd down, 3 yards to go, and they're calling an audible there at the line of scrimmage. Beckman will give it to Wells, first running play, and that is Beanie Wells. the sophomore from Akron, Ohio, and he gets inside of the 5 down to about the 4-yard line, as we'll have a moment here to tell you the starters for Ohio State today. And this is a terrific offensive line led by big Kurt Barton over there on the right side.
Big Ten players, Boone and Barton, All-American candidates.
And there's the receivers and backs. DeAndre Johnson, the fullback, in front of Wells now on a 3rd and 1, and Wells will get the call again, trying the left side, and that will be close. Boy, you had DeAndre Johnson, the 6', 242-pounder, one of the captains for Ohio State this year.
Yeah, right now I see Ohio State. They came out with 3 consecutive passes, then they had the last 2 runs. Their pad level needs to get lower than a defensive front. You got to include your fullback too, Deontay Johnson. He needs to get his pad level lower. But nice job by Youngstown State sustaining this rushing attack. Looks like they're going to try to mark it for a first down here.
Well, Hartline comes in right now, and the official's still taking a look at it. They're going to call it 4th down and less than a yard. So they'll go with 2 tight ends. Beanie Wells, the lone setback. And Beckman, and now the officials are waving the play off.
Timeout, Youngstown State. That's their first charge. Timeout.
All right, so Youngstown State has taken a timeout with 11:23 left to go first quarter, and Ohio State knocking on the door with a 4th and less than a yard to go. Down at the 4-yard line. We'll be right back. Back to Ohio Stadium after the timeout by Youngstown State. It's 4th and less than a yard. Well, you saw what they tried to do, Mike, on that last one. Just take 6'6" Todd Beckman, the quarterback sneak. Now they brought Johnson, fullback, back in there in front of Beanie Wells. And Beckman's going to take it again, and he's got enough for it.
When you're 6'6" and you dive over the pile, you're going to get at least 4.5 yards. And that's exactly what Beckman did there. Very athletic quarterback.
Right behind Jim Cordell, the sophomore, first-year starter at center. Ben Person, the right guard. Steve Rary in the left guard.
Well, Roger, you were center in college, and I was a quarterback in college, so we kind of like this play. We kind of just you go your best way. Whatever the center goes, you just follow his numbers and try to get vertical if you can. If not, stay low and hide behind you.
Now, 1st and goal from the 2-yard line. Robisky split to the top. And Wells will get the call on the left side, and a strong effort right there by Youngstown State. They've got some solid linebackers in Rashawn Simons, 59, James Terry, 56.
Well, they're well coached. You know, they didn't come in here and they're not going to lay down. They went to a 4-3 defense. Right now they're playing a 6-2, and the penetration works there. Look at James Terry, 56, get in there to pile. Greg Jacobs, 55, defensive lineman. We talked about it already about the pad level. Youngstown State is getting lower than Ohio State right now, and maybe because they're shorter, but they know the pad level structure.
And the ball now at the 3, so 2nd and goal from the 3. And Wells is going to try it again, and there is absolutely nothing happening. Boy, that Youngstown State defense really tightened up. And Wells fortunate to get back to the line of scrimmage. James Terry once again, and that linebacking group really the strength of their defense.
Strength of their defense. They want to be a gap control. Look at 64. Jim Cordell got drilled back into the backfield. Watch the center. Penetration is supposed to go forward, not backwards. And as we look at this, I'm not a big fan, and I've never been a big fan of closing the formation down when you get inside the 5-yard line. It gives the defense the advantage. Why not use the width of the field to spread them out? And they felt that they had better manpower, but Youngstown State won the last 2 tries.
3 wide receivers for Ohio State on 3rd and goal from the 3. Beckman looking, got it, touchdown to Dane Sanzenbacher, the freshman from Central Catholic High School in Toledo, Ohio.
We talked about in the opener, been a lot of firsts today. First-time quarterback starting in game experience. Dane Sanzenbacher, first-time freshman ever starting in the lineup at receiver. And the Big Ten Network is kicking off very well with the Buckeyes driving down the field and getting their first touchdown today.
Well, so they started with the pass and they finished with the pass on that drive. 9 plays, 70 yards, 353. Pretorius on to attempt the point after. And it's good. 9:36 to go. First quarter from Ohio Stadium, and the Buckeyes on the board first. The touchdown pass from Beckman to Sanzenbacher. Good catch.
This is the Big Ten Network.
Welcome back. Ohio State leads Youngstown State 7-0. And Mike, it was a good throw and a good catch.
Let's go through the replay here and a touchdown. Inside receiver, top of your screen, Dane Sanzenbacher stays moving. He does a nice job getting vertically up the field. There are 3 different windows when you throw a slant route. The guy you have to worry about is in the backside when your eyes come over. But nice job by Todd Beckman. Nice job by the receiver. Well executed play. And they needed that. They needed to score in the red zone against Youngstown State.
And for Beckman, his second career touchdown pass. So kickoff now. Pretorius to send it downfield. Back deep. D'Angelo Wilson, number 4. DeMichael Horn, number 7. And 7, DeMichael Horn will make the grab, and he will be dropped inside the 15, back at the 13-yard line. Eugene Clifford was down there on special teams for Ohio State. Little trouble fielding that kick.
Yeah, little trouble fielding that ball initially, but the fine freshman Eugene Clifford came out of nowhere. No one blocked him. He's from Coleraine, Ohio, a true freshman, and that's how these freshmen make an impact. We talked about special teams. There was a little dominance play there, starting them back on the 13-yard line.
So Youngstown State will take it now. 1st and 10. They spot it at the 13-yard line. They'll send the receivers to the near side. Out of the shotgun, Jabari Scott, the running back. He'll get the call. And across the 15 to the 16, Scott, a sophomore out of San Antonio, Texas, played 7 games back in 05, redshirted last year. And we talked about Ohio State losing a lot of firepower. Youngstown State lost some really good players on offense.
Yeah, they like this Jabari Scott. They think he could do a nice job. They run a read option or read zone play from the shotgun position. And what the quarterback and running back are looking for, if the end gets upfield, they're going to go ahead and give it. If the end collapses, they're going to go ahead and let the quarterback pull it out. And Zetz has a lot of carries throughout his career.
On 2nd down and 7, they'll give it to Scott again. He tries the left side, maybe gets a yard or 2. Laurinaitis, number 33, elected a captain in his junior year, Mike.
That's a tremendous honor. I know the captains traditionally run deep here. You know, for his peers to look at him as a leader on the field, you know, with the Nagurski Award winner, this guy does everything. He flows well, and talking to Jim Haycock, the defensive coordinator, that's one thing he's allowed 33 to do differently this year. They have the 2-gap inside tackles, and they allow 33. Very instinctive. He's a running back in high school. And those running backs are very instinctive when they go on the defensive side of the ball. They flow so quick when they anticipate where the ball's going. 3rd down and 4. Horn split to the top of your screen. Zetz on the straight drops. Got a man open right down the middle. And Derek Bush, number 87, one of the tight ends, was there to make the grab. A couple of good tight ends for Youngstown State. Bush 87 and 81, Louis Irizarry. Well, this is a high percentage pass for Tom Zetz. He's probably completed at least 90% of these passes throughout his career. And I would keep on throwing this play until they stop it. You know, here's a way to move the chains down the field, little chunks, controlling the clock, controlling the tempo of the game. And 2 of their best players are these 2 tight ends that you just mentioned. Now 1st and 10 for Youngstown State. Little play action, rolling to the right. And the pass completed by Zetz and to the 30-yard line. And once again, the tight end, Derek Bush, a 6'4", 270-pound junior from Circleville, Ohio, had 6 catches a year ago. And that's really the strength on their offense coming back this year. I mean, the wide receivers are very inexperienced. The running backs are very inexperienced. But the tight ends, between those 2 guys, I mean, they did some work last year. Well, 81 Irizarry and 87 Bush. I mean, those guys get open in the progression of a pass play the quickest. And if the linebackers don't collapse on them or collision them at the line of scrimmage, you're going to see Tom Zetz just throw that ball right in their numbers every play. On 2nd and 6, they split Irizarry out to the far side, and a little mix-up right there. And that running play was stuffed. Lawrence Wilson, 87, the junior from Akron, played in 11 games last year. And that defensive front led by Vernon Golston, but they've got some guys that are relative newcomers, got to play last year, but didn't start that much. Yeah, they don't have a lot of game starting experience, but they do have a lot of plays under their belt. You saw Lawrence Wilson, 87, do a nice job knifing through the hole from Akron, Ohio. I mean, they're very athletic. This guy has long arms. He's rangy and he's extremely aggressive. But I thought Tom Zetz should have taken that ball out of that running back's stomach there and just carried it around the end himself.
3rd down and 7. Hit split to the near side. They try to set up the screen right there, and nothing doing. Brought down at the 31 was the tight end, Irizarry. Denlinger, 92, was the first man there, the sophomore from Troy, Ohio.
Well, I like the play call. I like this delayed screen on your left-hand side of the picture. Delayed screen looking left, coming back right to Irizarry, who's a fine athlete, but nice job by 92, Todd Denlinger. And he's a sophomore. He's got some game experience. He's a guy that typically just is a two-gapper, just stays in there and tries to take up 2 blockers so Laurinaitis can flow free.
Mike Barlack, the snapper, better snap this time to Nowicki. And boy, he sent that off the side of his foot, and that's going to bound out at about the 38-yard line. It's a good field position for Ohio State with 5:40 left to go in the first quarter. The Buckeyes lead it 7-0. As we'll keep it right here, the Ohio State Buckeyes, the 2-time defending Big Ten champions, went 12-1, losing in that national championship game last year to Florida. But you know, Ohio State, Mike, has won 18 consecutive regular season games going back to October 8th of 05 when they lost to Penn State 17-10. So they've been on quite a run for some time, haven't they?
And they were 1 loss away from having another perfect season last year. They have already had one in 2002, winning a national championship. So they do know how to win. Beckman
back to throw. Good coverage right there by Youngstown State. The intended receiver, Brian Hardline, as Maurice Wells, Mo Wells, checked into the game that time, number 34. So somebody named Wells is probably going to carry the football most of the time for Ohio State. You've got Beanie Wells, 28, and Mo Wells, 34. Beanie's a sophomore from Akron, and Mo is a junior from Jacksonville, Florida. Now 2nd and 10 for Beckman. Went out of the shotgun on that first down play. Movement on the left side over there. Raring and Boone getting a little anxious. You know, if you take a look at these.
False start, number 71, offense. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
That was Steve Raring. But I was going to mention, if you take a look at the offensive line for Ohio State and the defensive line for Youngstown, Boone goes 313, Raring 345, Cordell 302, Person 321, and Barton 300. Up front for Youngstown, Halverson 245, Jacobs 270, Savage is 300 pounds, and then Maurice Smith 255. I mean, that's quite a contrast.
The scales aren't balanced there, but the pad level, if you're lower than your opponent, you're normally going to win the battle at the line of scrimmage.
On 2nd and 15, Hardline was in motion to the top of your screen, and Wells takes it on the right side. Mo Wells, and gain of just a couple. But I mean, so far you have to be impressed with the way Youngstown State has played against the run.
Absolutely, and that's one thing that was one of our keys to the game. Which offensive line or which defensive line is going to win the battle? We're talking about 3-yard radius there, and they're well coached. Youngstown State is not coming down here just to show up and get a paycheck. They're coming down here to test their competition level, see how good they really are and where they need to get to. And they're doing a fine job thus far in the running game.
On 3rd down and 11, Beanie Wells checks into the game. So does Sanzenbacher. Out of the shotgun, Beckman. And he is looking downfield to number 12. He just can't hold on to it. The freshman, Dane Sanzenbacher. Boy, almost had it.
Well, almost is right. I mean, there's a very fine line between a reception and an incompletion. Beckman had a tremendous amount of time in the pocket. I think that ball just kind of tailed away from him. He didn't know where he was at on the field. And that'll take some experience. You got this true freshman, Dane Sanzenbacher, who's been a camp surprise for all the coaches. They said, you know, through injuries with Ray Small, he's come in here and done a nice job, number 12, from Toledo Central Catholic.
So back to punt, A.J. Trapasso. He's averaged over 40 yards a punt in his career. 3rd year as a starter. He'll send it down to number 4, D'Angelo Wilson. He gets a nice roll on that punt, moving all the way down to about the 15, inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. So we'll take a pause. 4:40 left to go. First quarter from Ohio Stadium. And Ohio State leads Youngstown State 7-0.
The inaugural broadcast on the Big Ten Network. Roger, you hit on it earlier in this new field the Buckeyes have put in. Switching from natural grass to this synthetic field turf. Obviously you can see the ground up rubber. No big difference from the Ohio State's practice field. They practiced on it for about 4 years now. Mike, I know you mentioned it looks a little slippery. But, you know, there's a lot of traction here. Once this rubber settles in, it's a great surface to play on, a fast track. The only thing that's going to be different is this thing conducts a lot of heat. I'm grilling down here.
All right, Rob, thank you very much. On 1st and 10, the Penguins go to the ground, and they find some room on the right-hand side as Ohio State now. Mike has gone to some of their backup guys up front and at the linebacker spot.
We're going to rotate him. Kurt Coleman's a starter. He's a free safety, first year starting. He's getting his reps in there, but Spittler, Austin Spittler, number 38, replaces Laurinaitis at middle linebacker. So Coach Tressel and Jim Haycock want to see some bodies roll in there and see what they can do during game action.
5 yards on that pickup. So 2nd and 5 for Youngstown State. Zetz on the play action, and he'll throw it downfield, and he's got a receiver over there. That was number 7 to Michael Horn, the junior from Twinsburg, Ohio. Not able to pull it in. This is a really inexperienced receiving core for Youngstown State.
And Tom Zetz needs a little help from his receivers. I mean, ball was thrown in the right location. Receiver just has to close to it. I mean, you can only get so many opportunities between the center or the quarterback and the receiver going down the field, and big plays against a team that's as powerful as Ohio State. You got to convert.
First 4 guys on the depth chart for Youngstown State at wide receiver, a total of 7 receptions. So now 3rd and 5 for Zetz and the Penguins. And he's got pressure from behind, and he is dropped back inside the 10-yard line. Lawrence Wilson came busting through. So Wilson, the junior out of Akron, who had 3 sacks a year ago, was able to chase him down from behind.
Well, he's coming up. We talked about his athleticism. They're bringing a blitz from the right side of your screen, and nobody blocks 87. I mean, here's one of your down linemen that was standing up in the secondary. Nice disguise by the defense, and Tom Zetz does a nice job here just protecting the football and living for another down and punt the football away. But give credit to Lawrence Wilson with his closing speed.
Youngstown State now 1 out of 4 on 3rd down conversions, and on a 4th and 15 they'll have to punt it out of the end zone. Wiki struggling again. That might have, that was blocked. Somebody got a piece of that. And that will roll to a stop at the 27-yard line. So the first punt was a bad snap. Second one, he just didn't get a good kickoff, and that time the pressure was there. And Ohio State has got terrific field position as we take a look at this again.
Well, they've been having problems, like you just mentioned, the punting area. Looks like right through the middle, number 37 does a nice job getting his paw up there.
Thaddeus Gibson.
And special team dominance. I mean, when you have better athletes on the field, you have a willingness to get to the ball quicker. And when they get a paw on it, they can go ahead and do something with it.
Penalty marker down.
Illegal substitution.
Illegal substitution. Ohio State came out with 12 players from the sideline huddle. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still, first down.
Well, it looked like the freshman, number 3, Brandon Sane, was out there and then tried to run off the field very quickly, but the officials right on top of things.
Well, he's highly touted freshman, Mr. Ohio of a year ago. They like his capability, his potential. Let's see if he can do it during game day, but you know, that'll happen early in the season. You know, you have personnel changes and lack of communication, but I know Coach Tressel is a stickler for that. They're going to correct that very soon here.
Sane is in the football game on a 1st and 15 now, just over 3 minutes to go, first quarter. And he gets the call, number 3, and he is inside the 25, still working. Look at him go down inside the 15. Look at Brandon Sane. What a job right there. Number 3, the freshman from Piqua, Ohio, who was Mr. Football in Ohio last year.
They talk about Todd Beckman, you know, his first start, but Brandon Sane will remember his first carry. Not only does he dart off the left side, but he has tremendous vision. He takes on the contact, he keeps his feet moving. I mean, that's a very fundamentally sound athlete right there.
Trevor Robinson in at fullback in front of Sane on 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes. And Sane will get the call again. And he gets down to the 10-yard line. What a great high school career Brandon Sane had. Over 1,800 yards rushing last year, 27 rushing touchdowns, led Piqua to the state title. And also, Mike was the 100 and 400 meter track champion.
That tells you a lot to win the 100 meter in the state of Ohio, but to come back and win the 400 meter. And he broke Teddy Ginn Jr.'s state records in the 100 and 400 meters. So they got a fine prospect there, and hopefully he has a healthy career.
Sansenbacher in the game on a 2nd down and 5 from the 10-yard line. Sane gets the call, following his blockers. And Kyle moves down to about the 6-yard line.
Roger, I'll tell you what happened that last series when the O-line came to the sideline. Jim Haycock, the offensive coordinator and offensive line coach, had a little powwow with his guys. He told, you better keep your feet moving, you better keep your head up, and you better lower your rear end because we're getting whipped at the line of scrimmage. So he put some fear in the offensive line. They come back with a short field, and they've been running the football the last 2 consecutive plays. I could see the ball being handed off here the next couple of times until they get in the end zone. But Jim Bowman's a stickler for fundamentals, and he got those guys here pretty good.
3rd down and 1. And a flag goes down. Another illegal substitution, it appears.
Illegal substitution on the defense. They had 12 players on the field. That's a half the distance to the goal. Will remain 3rd down.
That's a heck of a defense if you can get away with it, you know.
That penalty will result in a 1st down.
So half the distance and 1st down now. So 1st and goal coming up for Ohio State with 1:25 left to go. 1st quarter. Trevor Robinson in there at fullback, 5th-year senior from Richmond, Virginia, in front of the true freshman Brandon Sane, who will get the call. Look at that. Look at that pile. Still going, moving. My goodness. Wow.
A lot of collected bodies in that one little 4-yard radius. I mean, you probably had maybe about 5,000 pounds there.
You could only move one way or the other. That truly looked like a rugby scrum, didn't it?
It goes back to my principle of why close the formation down. There's only little seams to run through, and you got a guy that runs a 10-400 meters. I mean, that's what you talk about. Keep your feet going, keep your feet going, keep your head up. And Youngstown State's looking for the ball carrier. Why not just dive in there? That's why I love playing about defense. Yep. You can just dive in there and hit your own guy. Well,
Beanie Wells has checked into the game on a 2nd and goal from the 1-yard line. And let's see if he does the dive. He's got it, and boy, I'll tell you what, Youngstown State battling hard. And the Ohio State guys are signaling for a touchdown, but the officials have not raised their arms, and it appears as though, no, they did not get in the end zone. What a great job. Those guys up front for Youngstown. Michael Savage is a football player. He's 6'2", 300, junior from Hartsdale, New York. Maurice Smith, Greg Jacobs, Blake Halverson. Terrific job by Youngstown State's defense so far against the running game as we've completed the 1st quarter of play here from Ohio Stadium.
That's the end of the 1st quarter.
With Ohio State leading Youngstown State by a score of 7-0. Beckman with a touchdown pass to Sanzenbacher. And the Buckeyes knocking on the door when we come back for 2nd quarter action.
This is the Big Ten Network.
Welcome back. 7-0. Ohio State leads as we get set to start the 2nd quarter. It's the show for all Big Ten fans, featuring highlights, analysis, interviews, and much, much more. The Big Ten tonight, every night, right here on the Big Ten Network. Check your local listings. Hope you'll tune in and join us. Well, it looks like they've Mike brought in the 2nd string offensive line. They've got a couple fullbacks, a couple tight ends, and the deep back on 3rd and goal from the 1 is Beanie Wells. He'll get the call, and he is in for the touchdown. So Ohio State, after that short punt by Youngstown that was partially blocked, will take it in for their 2nd score of the day. So the first play of the 2nd quarter, and the sophomore from Akron, Beanie Wells, 6 plays, 27 yards, 3 minutes and 11 seconds, and a pretty good push there by that offensive line group.
Absolutely. They got movement at the line of scrimmage, point of attack, but Beanie Wells, big specimen there, got his first touchdown of 2007.
And the point after by Pretorius, and that is good. So Ohio State now with a 14-0 lead.
They just call us power O. You're going to bring the offside guard and your right-hand side coming left, lead with a fullback. Nobody blocks the linebacker. That's Beanie Wells' assignment. When nobody blocks somebody, you got to be your own blocker and ball carrier. You're going to see a lot of that at number 28 this year, getting into the end zone.
Well, he was able to slide in there that time, but this has been a really good, solid effort by Youngstown State so far. We remember back to last year, their 3rd game of the year. They played at Happy Valley in front of 104,000, 3-0 after the 1st quarter, 20-0 at halftime. You know, they lost the football game, but you know, if people think that maybe this group of kids from Youngstown are intimidated coming in here, they've played in front of a big crowd before, and they did pretty darn good for most of that football.
They certainly did. They kept the game in check, and the battle was won at the line of scrimmage, and then it was a big play in the punt return game that kind of opened that game up right before halftime. And then Penn State just kind of controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides and ended up winning 37-3.
But it's been difficult so far today for Ohio State to run the football. They've passed it with some ease, but you have to know what's going on the sideline. You talked about the offensive line. You know, they may not be real happy with the number ones right now.
Well, it takes a while to gel chemistry-wise, but a different opponent, different look than they had in practice.
D'Angelo Wilson on the return, and he is dropped down at the 15-yard line by Thaddeus Gibson. That's the second time he's come down on special teams to make a stop, the redshirt freshman out of Euclid, Ohio.
We talk about these freshmen that just go out there and make a mark. You know, they want to play so badly when they come in here as a freshman because you were a star in high school, but when you get here, you have to earn your stripes. You know, Coach Tressel, there's so much tradition here. He likes to give everyone an opportunity early in the season and see what they can do in game-like conditions, and special teams an opportunity for these guys.
1st and 10 now for Youngstown State and their quarterback Tom Zetz, as they will start it at the 16-yard line, working out of the shotgun. Youngstown State lost 27 lettermen and 8 first-team all-gateway performers from a team that won 11-3 a year ago, and Zetz finds a receiver right down the seam. Number 81 there making the catch. That's Louis Irizarry, who actually started his college career right here at Ohio State. Last year, 25 receptions, 304 yards, a couple of touchdowns. And he played in 8 games as a true freshman here.
He certainly did, and he was a great prospect coming out of Ursuline High School up there in the Youngstown area. And he made the transfer back to Youngstown State. He's back in the football field, so I'm sure the excitement level for him is to come down here and have a good outing.
Ball up to the 28-yard line now, 1st and 10 for the Penguins. Zetz looking near side to throw. He's found number 83 here on the near side. That's Aaron Pitts, a sophomore from Marion, Ohio. As at the moment, the second string guys up front for Ohio State are in the game.
I like it, just throwing and catching. Tom Zetz has done this throughout his career. He got some new receivers on the outside. Aaron Pitts does a nice job, but just a 5-yard completion. You got your tight end in the first play of the series. You got to get a rhythm offensively. Your defense is trying to hang in there, but when you give them a short field through the punting game, it makes it very challenging. But these little 5-yard completions add up.
Well, Zetz is in line to set at least 5 new offensive records at Youngstown State. On a 2nd and 5, they hand it to Scott right up the middle, and he gets a couple. I mean, you know, we talked about him with their coaches. They call him a gym rat, a guy. He's in the weight room all the time. I mean, he just loves football, doesn't he?
He loves, eats it, drinks it, thinks it. I mean, here's a guy that came from Bourbon High School, had a tremendous high school career, didn't get highly recruited. And John Haycock said, hey, why don't you come over to our school and compete for the starting job? He played as a true freshman. He was thrown into the lineup. And so he's got a lot of reps, a lot of snaps from being under center. There's not many things he hadn't seen situationally like that.
Horn is in motion on a 3rd down and 2 for Youngstown State, and Zetz will roll out and he'll throw, and it's thrown low, the intended receiver, to Michael Horn. Horn was open, but Zetz on the move, being chased down, and could not get the football into the hands of his wide receiver. So that'll bring up a punting situation, which has been a struggle so far for Youngstown State.
That's what Ohio State likes to do. They like to come after you on 3rd down, and that pressure that was put on Zetz made him throw a tough ball going across his body back to the middle of the field and sets up a 4th down punting opportunity.
So Nowicki back inside the 25, and there's one that's sent straight down the middle that Robisky will field at the 23-yard line. And he'll take it outside, trying to get outside, but can't go anywhere. He is pulled down by James Terry there, number 56, the senior from Stafford, Virginia. So Ohio State will have the football, 1st and 10. When we come back to Ohio Stadium.
The Big Ten Network.
Dave Revson in our Big Ten Network studios as we check in on Penn State and Florida International. Been all Nittany Lions so far. Anthony Morelli here to Mickey Schuler, the tight end, who takes it in. Morelli's thrown 2 TD passes. It's 14-0 Penn State, Roger.
Ohio Stadium with 12:46 left to go in the first half, and a new quarterback in for the Buckeyes, Robbie Schoenhoff, a 6'6", 244-pound sophomore from Mason, Ohio. He'll work out of the shotgun, split backs, and the handoff up the middle to Beanie Wells. And nothing working there as that Youngstown State defense continues to be strong against the run. And let's go down to Rob.
Thanks a lot, Roger. You know, guys, I got a chance to play with Robbie Schoenhoff for 3 years here at Ohio State. This kid has a lot of moxie and a lot of swagger. He's the gunslinger of the two of them, more outspoken than Todd is. Todd came over here when he first got off after the first series, didn't say anything. Robbie fired up the troops as he went in.
All right, Rob, thank you very much. Mo Wells, the deep back, Deontay Johnson in there at fullback on a 2nd down and 9. And Mo Wells will get the call. And I'm telling you, nothing happening whatsoever on the ground as that defense. That's Vince Gliata, number 18, who came up to make the tackle right there. Gliata started his college career at Penn State.
Good point. He started there as a quarterback, and then he decided he wasn't going to make the mix there and came back to Youngstown State, transferred, and he's made a major impact in this defense. He's the guy that gets the 8th defender in the box, very aggressive player. And I'm impressed with Youngstown State's defense right now. I mean, they're doing a great job flowing the football. They're well coached. Ohio State better keep their eyes open and see who's coming off the edges.
3rd down and 10. Schoenhoff out of the shotgun. Now being pressured, rolling out, and Schoenhoff is going to tuck it under and run with the football. He's still on his feet. He's got the first down to the 45-yard line. So the big man, 6'6", 245, able to carry that. Looked like Tom Zach there.
Yeah, huh? Really. 25 years ago. But he does a nice job staying alive with the football, Rob Schoenhoff. You know, he sees pressure coming from his left side. He feels it a little bit, tucks the football nicely, gets vertically up the field, and tries to get that first down. He kind of knew where the chains were. But that's a headsy play. Protect the football a little bit more. That's one thing that Coach Tressel does not want to see, the ball on the ground. And the fans like it. It's not Troy Smith-esque, but it's good enough for to get a first down.
Now 16 yards in the pickup, 1st and 10. And Schoenhoff wants to throw, looking downfield. And the intended receiver down there, number 10, Devin Torrance, was just checked into the game. So Jim Tressel getting a lot of the young players, Mike, into the game already.
Certainly is, and this is by design. He talked about it with us yesterday, and he said we're going to roll people in there. That's how you gain experience throughout, right before your Big Ten season. You can only practice against your own players so long, but you get game experience. That's one thing. He's a great teacher, and he gets his team prepared, and that's why they're in the game right now.
2nd and 10 coming up from the 45-yard line. Devin Lyons is checked into the game. He was questionable for today's game. Had been battling an injury, but good to go. And pressure from the outside on Schoenhoff as he gets it to Mo Wells, and well covered right over there by Jarvis Richards, the junior out of Daytona Beach, Florida. So Youngstown State has had a lot of answers for Ohio State's offense so far today.
Well, defensive coordinator Jeff Mills told us he needs to mix it up a little bit. And it looks like he's been bringing a lot more blitzes, you know, from the boundary corner or the corner to the field. And what happens when they bring a blitz, nobody counts for him. Somebody gets in the quarterback's face untouched. Nice job switching up your calls on defense.
It sets up a 3rd down and 12 for Ohio State. Just over 10 minutes to go first half. Schoenhoff with plenty of time now throws it near side and incomplete. Lyons was the intended receiver, so a good defensive stand right there by Youngstown State.
Sometimes when you roll players in there, they're not on the same page, but they practice against one another. They get a lot of reps together as a group. But Robbie Schoenhoff stared that receiver down the whole way down the field. You've got to get his eyes back to the middle of the field and keep that linebacker in check so he can't undercut that throw.
Well, you know, Mike, you can practice, scrimmage, whatever, but you get into a real game and the speed increases so much. You just can't emulate it in practice.
You cannot. As much as coaches try to drive that in a scout team look, it doesn't happen.
Trapasso to kick it. D'Angelo Wilson back there inside the 15, and he is just covered up. He had no chance on that one. Lane 29, one of the first guys down there to greet him. So Youngstown State will start it from their own 15, and John Haycock, the head coach at Youngstown State, replaced Jim Tressel, his 7th year as a head coach. He was a former assistant to Jim at Youngstown State, and his brother we've talked about is an assistant here at Ohio State. And this was earlier today.
We got Jim Haycock in the white shirt, defensive coordinator, Ohio State, his 12th season here. And John Haycock going around to see the family, mom and dad up in the stands. They get here early. They come with the team bus. Now, you be nice to one another today. You can make sure you don't beat your younger brother up.
41 yards on that punt, 1st and 10 from the 15-yard line. Zetz under center. And the running play off the right side will get a few yards. Nice job there by Youngstown State's their right side of the offensive line. Samson 67 and Theodore 66. As the carry there by Jordan Edwards, number 28, a redshirt freshman out of Sandusky, Ohio. Had a good high school career, first team all Division II. You see the record there for John Haycock. A lot of success at Youngstown State, but you know, they did lose a lot of good players from a year ago. 2nd and 6 now. Zetz with a lot of pressure, able to swing it out and find a running back. Edwards, he's still moving, and he is finally thrown out at the 35-yard line. Anderson Russell finally chased him down, and a nice read there. Good throw, good run. Jordan Edwards with the pickup.
Well, at the left side of your screen, they bring 3 blitzers from the left side. It vacates that whole side of the field. You get your offensive line out in front of you. They're able to block down the field early as long as the ball is completed behind the line of scrimmage. But nice job by Zetz getting back. Receiver or running back Edwards getting in and out back to the sideline to the boundary. Does a nice job. Very positive play, and I'm impressed so far what Youngstown State has brought down here today.
Good block there by Tyler Booth, 78 on that last play to spring him free. And Zetz now throwing downfield and just off the hands of Irizarry. But a well-designed play right there, Mike. And you mentioned it. This is a well-coached football team. They've had a lot of success through the years at the Division I AA level.
Well, here's a little misdirection play. You run the zone stretch play to one side, you come back, and your tight end just got off his feet a little bit too early there. There's been a nice completion, but Tom Zetz is going to get them where they need to go offensively throughout the year. They're starting to gain momentum, and this is a very good upside for Youngstown State to get this on film. Here's where we could have made a difference. Here's where we could have gotten better. We're on the edge right here. They're going to learn a lot from this game here today.
From the 37-yard line on 2nd down and 10, Zetz out of the shotgun, looking far side, and he has got Irizarry over there. Makes the catch and gets to the 40, gain of a couple. Chiqua, number 5, the redshirt freshman from Clermont, Florida, a real speedster over there to make the stop. Chimde Chiqua. And now a 3rd down situation upcoming as we take another look at that last play.
Let's watch the left tackle right here. He's lined up against Wilson. Does a nice job. He's got a lot of reps. Left tackle Matt Kishman does a nice job. Actually, Tyler Booth, number 78, came in there.
They're splitting time there today. Booth is coming back off a knee injury from last year. 3rd down and 6 now. And this is where Youngstown State has struggled so far. Zetz throwing it downfield, and the catch made over there on the far side. Beautiful job by DeMichael Horn. Terrific throw, but boy, I'll tell you what, DeMichael Horn made a great grab as we have an Ohio State player down. Watch this throw here.
Advantage receiver when he's looking at the football, and defensive back Chiqua got to get his head turned around. That's a learning experience for him. But DeMichael Horn, you talk about big play potential. He's the only guy in the field right now that's getting it done.
Well, he only had 6 receptions for him last year, and the injured player Lawrence Wilson there for Ohio State. We're going to take a pause here. 8:21 left to go, first half from Ohio Stadium. The Buckeyes lead at 14-0, but Youngstown State is driving.
You're watching the Big Ten Network.
Dave Revson in our Big Ten Network studios. Want to check in on Michigan and Appalachian State. Dexter Jackson running the reverse down near the goal line. Mountaineers would punch it in from here. I know this will break up the Ohio State fans, guys. 14-all.
All right, Dave, thank you very much. How about that, Mike?
College football, anything can happen.
You bet. 14-0 here. Ohio State leads Youngstown State. 8:21 left to go. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Big Ten Conference and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Big Ten Conference. 87 Lawrence Wilson, the junior from Akron, Ohio, being taken off the field on the cart.
had a few injuries in my career, Roger, and that looked very painful. Looked like he got a shot to the shin.
Freshman Cameron Hayward, 97, has checked into the game for Ohio State. Dad, of course, Craig Ironhead Hayward.
So there you go, in stereo.
1st and 10, 34-yard line. Zetz throws it, and he has got the horn again. To Michael Horn, the junior out of Twinsburg, Ohio, makes the catch. So previously a 25-yard completion to Horn, and now it comes right back. And I'll tell you what, they're doing a good job of moving him around in the pocket. The pressure really hasn't been there on Zetz. Last year, they only allowed 13 sacks in just 5 in their last 8 games.
And a lot of that is accountable because they're moving the pocket. They're getting a shifty quarterback, not in one launch location all the time. But Ohio State needs to bring some emotion back into this game. It's kind of flat out there.
2nd and 3, and they'll hand it off. That's 28 Edwards, who's checked in there at running back. And Laurinaitis there with the stop last year, the junior from Hamlin, Minnesota. 115 tackles, 5 interceptions, 4 sacks. He's a great student, as so many of the Ohio State players. 23 players academic all Big Ten to lead the way for the 5th year in a row in that category. So smart on the field, smart off the field.
What a great human being. I mean, I got a chance to meet him last year. They call him Little Animal here in Columbus, and they call him Shrek back home in Minnesota.
3rd and 1, and the handoff to Edwards. He's got it, and inside the 20, down to the 19. So Jordan Edwards, this redshirt freshman from Sandusky, Ohio, able to do some work inside. Good hold there, good blocking by that offensive line.
Well, the offensive line is coming up, but great vision by Edwards, doing a nice job just knifing it forward. Left-hand side is blocking down or getting movement at the point of attack, and allows Jordan Edwards to squeak through for the 1st down. And what a momentum swing that's happening here, Roger. I mean, here's a team that says we matched them punch for punch. We're still down 14. We need 7 right here.
6:40 left to go in the 1st half, and the fake Zet's going to run it. And Zetz now inside the 15, down to the 14. The only problem with Zetz running the football is that the only guy backing him up right now is a true freshman. They've had some injury problems at quarterback.
Well, we talked to Brian Wright, the offensive coordinator, about that, and he said he knows when they get down, he knows when not to take a hit. But nice job in the read zone play, and he's had enough snaps underneath center. He knows when they get down. He's not going to take an extra shot.
Abdallah and Larimore in on the tackle that time. So just over 6 minutes to go, 1st half. 2nd down and 5. They spotted at the 14-yard line. Edwards, the lone setback. Horn split to the near side as he goes in motion now. And Edwards will get the call. He bounces, following his blocker, still on his feet. He's down inside the 5 to the 4-yard line. Good job right there of following his blocker and cutting it up. And Youngstown State knocking on the door.
Talk about copycat plays. Ohio State runs this play successfully throughout their offense. Just a power O, but the great effort. I mean, talk about running backs. They can have great effort, but if they don't have vision that goes along with it, they won't be able to get those extra 2 or 3 yards. And Edwards did a tremendous job. And they're starting to find himself a running back right now.
Terrific drive by the Penguins. 1st and goal from the 4-yard line. Edwards, the running back, as Horn goes in motion. Edwards has got it. Nothing happening there on the right side. Nader Abdallah, the junior from Metairie, Louisiana, saw limited action a year ago. He's 6'5", 297 pounds. Was in there on the stop, and a loss of a couple on that play.
I'd like to have seen a play action pass on that 1st down opportunity. You know, you move in the pocket nice for Zetz, getting him out in space a little bit, give him a run pass option, and it kind of becomes predictable on 2nd down or even 3rd down if you're an Ohio State defender.
Aaron Pitts has checked in, number 83. He's split to the near side. 2nd and goal from the 6-yard line. Play action there to Edwards. They'll swing it out to the far side. The pass completed, knocked out of bounds. Inside the 5, maybe getting those 2 yards back. Irizarry, number 81, made the catch over there.
Well, 81's in motion. Irizarry comes out to the flat. Nice job throwing him off course a little bit by Golston. And you got your defensive end covering one of their top receivers. And it tells you a lot about Vernon Golston as far as an athlete goes. But you know this is going to be another passing opportunity for Youngstown State. So if they can get pressure on the quarterback, they can stop this drive right now that they put together. But they give them a little time. I think they can put it in the end zone.
3rd and goal from the 4-yard line. Zetz on the straight drop, looking near side. Man wide open back in the end zone. That was 87 Derek Bush at tight end.
They had what they wanted.
Zetz hasn't thrown too many bad passes, but that one, not a good one.
You know, he starts shuffling his feet, looking to his left. He never really set his feet. His front leg locked out, and the ball sailed on him. Watch his front leg, his left foot. Once he locks it out, the ball just takes off and goes to another level, and Bush does not have an opportunity to get to that football.
So Brian Palmer comes on to attempt the field goal. Ball spotted at the 11-yard line. And that kick is up and good. So the field goal right there by Palmer. And with 4:34 to go first half, Ohio State's lead 14-3.
This is Big Ten country.
And welcome back. A 21-yard field goal by Brian Palmer. That was a heck of a drive by Youngstown State. Started at their own 19, and it's 14-13. Want to remind you to join host Mike Hall to find out what's happening on campus as your school preps for the big game. Get up to the second reports and see campuses battle it out to determine who has the best football atmosphere. Now, everybody's got to get into this. That's Friday night tailgate. Fridays at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, only on the Big Ten Network.
Well, you wouldn't have had a good Friday night here because the students aren't in class right now. But still, there's a lot of campers out there, and it's just a great experience here at Ohio Stadium in Columbus, Ohio. Finally got a chance to enjoy the tailgates after I got done playing professional ball.
Absolutely. Palmer to kick it off, and Mo Wells, number 34, Jamario O'Neal, number 3, back to return the kick for Ohio State. 4:34 left to go in the first half, and that's Wells taking it back at the 7-yard line and taking it to the near sideline. Wells across the 25 to the 26, where the Buckeyes will put it in play, and heading back out on the field is number 17, Todd Beckman, the junior from St. Henry, Ohio.
You know, Rogers, 4:29 left before halftime. You'd like to see Ohio State come out and get some emotion back into this crowd. It seemed like Youngstown State, that last drive, just kind of nullified the crowd.
Well, Youngstown State has about, they were able to sell about 7,000 tickets. They got that many, so they've got a
they travel well for a Division I AA.
They certainly do.
And so, those people from Youngstown know a lot about football. Coach Strussel taught him when he was up there.
First and 10, 25-yard line for Ohio State. Todd Beckman back in there at quarterback. 3 wide receivers for the Buckeyes. Beckman looking to the far side, and the catch made over there. Robisky pulls it in. Last year, Robisky with 13 receptions, 5 touchdowns, averaged 13 yards a catch. He's a junior out of Cleveland, Ohio. Good size, 6'3", 196.
He's been around football a long time.
Yeah, his dad's a coach.
Terry Robisky's down in Miami. He's been in the league for a number of years, and he's been around a lot of professional athletes, but now it's his opportunity to shine. You lost your big play receivers in Gonzalez and Ginn, and Robisky has the experience.
Second and less than a yard. Deontay Johnson in there at fullback along with Beanie Wells, who gets the call, running it outside. He's got enough for the first down, and he is up to about the 40-yard line before being knocked out of bounds over there on the far side. Got to give a lot of credit to this Youngstown State defense. I mean, they have really hung in there. Dorian Chenault was over there on the stop. He's a senior from Canton McKinley High School, 68 tackles a year ago.
We talked about, you know, what Youngstown State has to gain from this. They're not only going to have tremendous film to look at and see how the program matches up against Ohio State, a premier college football team, but, you know, we're going to find out our identity here today as well.
3:45 left to go first half. First and 10 from the 40. Sanzenbacher has checked into the game, and some movement out there at the top. Looked like they split out Beanie Wells that time. And
ball start, number 28, offense. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
So Beanie Wells in a spot that maybe he's not quite used to, way out there on the side. And
you took the words right out of my mouth.
First time we've seen him split out there today.
I have Jerome Bettis and even Walter Payton and all those guys. They get on those toes and that body starts leaning forward. It's just human nature to delay the snap or anticipate the snap.
Now Beckman going to throw it near side, and oh, what a great throw right there. Robisky makes the catch, but Beckman did a great job of just putting a lot of air under the football, and Robisky found it.
I think you're going to see a lot of this opportunities this year for the Buckeyes. Here's a big play threat. Todd Beckman does a nice job, knows exactly where he wants to go with the football. 28-yard completion. Brian Rubisky, we talked about his hands, locating the football and keeping his body inside the end line, the sideline. But that's what you want. You want big striking ability. You want explosive plays to get in rhythm again.
1st and 10, 37-yard line. Beckman, now he's going to run with it. He's got some room. And he is pulled out. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. Good job by James Terry once again, the 6'2", 235-pound senior out of Stafford, Virginia.
Well, Brian Rubisky does a nice job. Watch how he stays up the field. He knows where the sideline is, and he catches it away from his body. You know, we talked about big plays during the keys to the game, but that's what receivers are taught to do. Keep your body inside, let your hands float outside, and catch the football at its highest point. Textbook play right there by number 80, Brian Rubisky.
Chris Beanie Wells and Mo Wells both in the game right now on a 2nd down and 9 as Beckman working out of the shotgun. 1-step drop, a little slant right there, no problem whatsoever down to the 25-yard line to Rubisky. Well, as we looked at this Youngstown State team, you had to notice the inexperience of the corners, and it's really been there today when Ohio State's wanted to throw the football.
Absolutely, but they're not getting behind the defensive back, and that's the important thing that I think Youngstown State's coaching staff's looking at. Go ahead and let them catch it in front of you or deflect it, but don't let them get behind you. If they get behind you, we're going to have problems all afternoon.
1st and 10 now. Ball spotted at the 24-yard line. 2:18 left to go. First half. Plenty of time for Beckman. Now he's dropped, and then he threw the ball. 94 Torrance Nicholson was the man that came busting through there. A redshirt freshman from right here in Columbus, Ohio, from Marion Franklin High School. And coming up at halftime studio update, the Beckman breakdown, first half stats, first half highlights, that's all coming up at the half. So, you know, I was just going to talk about the fact that Ohio State only allowed 19 sacks in 13 games last year. That's the first time that Youngstown State has gotten to the quarterback today. So now a 2nd and 17, the ball back at the 31-yard line as Hardline goes in motion to the top. Beckman looking down the middle, tough pass. He tried to throw it through a couple of defenders to Rubisky, and it goes incomplete, and that stops the clock with 1:29 left to go in the first half.
Well, that's when you see Todd Beckman pressing a little bit. He's looking to his left side of his receiving core to the outside. He's looking left, and then coming back at the last second, and Rubisky kind of glances across from it, and when a quarterback's pressing, he looks to his receiver he trusts the most. And Rubisky's been that guy today. That's one of those learning experiences a young quarterback's going to go through in these early games. You know where you're going with the football. Eliminate receivers early based on the coverage, and that wasn't a coverage read by him.
4 receivers now as they split Beanie Wells to the top on a 3rd down and 17. Pressure on Beckman, trying to throw to Hartline, and there's a penalty marker goes down. Back on the coverage was Bob Perez.
Spot foul with automatic first down.
So 21 Perez there on the coverage.
I tell you, unfortunately for Youngstown State, they put Ohio State in a win position here by giving another set of downs, but Bob Perez, number 21, did undercut him, clipped him a little bit, and that would have been an incompletion if he didn't even touch him. Sometimes you just got to lay off and hope that the guy doesn't catch it, but Ohio State has another set of downs.
That sets up a 1st and 10 from the 21. Beckman wants to throw it again. The screen set out to Mo Wells. Look at him move down to about the 2-yard line. Boy, good patience right there by Mo Wells. Watch the blockers, watch the play develop, picked his spots, and he got it down inside the 5 and all the way to the inside the 2-yard line.
Well, they got this play a lot on Thursday out of practice with Mo Wells and Chris Wells. But the linemen do a nice job. Timing is so important when you get the screen plays, especially early in the season. And they did a nice job decoying it to the left, coming back. Beckman throwing to Wells, but Wells does a nice job setting up the blocks like you said, Roger.
On 1st and goal from the 1, Beanie Wells trying it, leans forward. And officials are going to say he was just short. Well, you just have to admire the determination of this Youngstown State defense. I mean, they have hung in there. They're scratching, clawing, fighting. They're outweighed about 50 pounds a man up front.
Absolutely. And I think Beanie Wells missed a hole there.
And Ohio
That's their
State's going to
first
take a
charge
timeout with
timeout.
42 seconds left to go in the first half. They lead it 14-3.
A lot of times running backs, when they get down the goal line, they get too anxious. You got to keep your head up. I think the hole was to the right side a little bit. The ball does come out. You know, usually it does come out down the goal line because guys are always picking at it. But it looks like the hole was to his right a half a step.
Rashawn Simons was a guy filling that spot, the sophomore from Eastmore Academy right here in Columbus, Ohio.
I like what he did there. I mean, not only did he fill it, but he brought some punch to that. But yeah, I agree with you, Roger. I think Youngstown State is matching up pretty well, but you know, scoreboard indicates differently.
What did John Haycock tell us? We asked him how many players you're bringing. He said 63, and every one of them is going to play, right?
Exactly.
And I'll tell you what, they've been moving people in and out all day.
Yeah, they've been platooning. They're getting personnel groupings. And you see a lot of movement when the ball gets down by the goal line because there's small bodies coming out and there's big bodies coming in to defend the run or a potential touchdown. And, you know, that's one area you really can't scrimmage a lot in practice early in the season. Goal line scrimmage. I mean, that's a painful day for linemen and running backs and linebackers.
Well, you know, we go back to the game last year against Penn State. They really hung tough throughout the first half. It's 14-3 right now. It's a second and goal from inside the 1. But, I mean, you really can't be surprised, knowing the history and tradition of Youngstown State football, that they're playing this hard.
Absolutely. And they do have a lot of tradition. I mean, tradition was restored when Tressel went there. They have had a lot of great athletes that come out of Youngstown State. There's a guy that does a lot of broadcasting, Ron Jaworski, that has a lot of records still in the record books. And
that Zetz is going to break, you know.
Exactly. And so there's a proud tradition up there in the northeast part of the state. And it's about 2.5 hours north of here, northeast of here. And they have a lot of great high school football players come out of there. I know Ohio State recruits the heck out of there. A little bit different atmosphere than playing in front of 20,000 people at Stanball Stadium.
Yeah. Well, the true freshman Brandon Sane is checked into the game at the running back. 49, the senior Deontay Johnson is in front of him. Second and goal from the 1-yard line. Sane will get the call, and battling, driving.
Look at that umpire.
Yes, touchdown Ohio State.
You got to dig deep. You got to dig deep to see that ball across the plane of that goal line.
How about this? You got a couple of true freshmen scoring touchdowns today. Yeah, Sansenbacher with the touchdown reception, and now Sane taking it into the end zone from a yard out.
Who said I have to wait and earn my stripes? Earn them today. But Brandon Sane does a nice job with his vision. Just turn him to the outside and duck him back in the inside. And we saw what he did in a couple carries earlier in the second quarter, keeping his leg drive going. Nothing new for Mr. Ohio football. Finding the goal line.
10 plays, 75 yards, 3:55 on the drive, and Pretorius with the extra point. So with 34 seconds to go in the first half, Ohio State has taken a 21-3 lead over Youngstown State.
Well, that's what Ohio State needed to do when they took the ball over with 4:29 left in the half. They methodically moved the ball downfield, little chunks. They had a big completion to Rubisky on the right side, and you can't really defend that. It was just a great execution by the quarterback and the receiver. And then the big bodies took over by moving that ball, moving the pile into the goal line.
Well, Beckman came back into the game to engineer that drive.
You know, so much.
How have you? Let me just ask you, what have you thought about his play so far today?
I think the anticipation just needs to happen a tenth of a second quicker. But, you know, it's expected. I'm sure when I was my first start, I was a little delayed with my reads or a little delayed with my delivery. But all in all, I think he kind of got away from finding the safeties for a couple plays, but he'll get better at it.
And Pretorius with a ground ball kick that'll be picked up by Michael Horn, number 7. And he takes it back to about the 29-yard line.
You know, I mentioned that Todd Beckman saying, you know, the little things he needs to really focus on a little bit more. And in order for this team to have great success this year, Roger, I really think that 17 is their guy to get him there. You know, he's been given an opportunity. He's been given a chance to be around this program for a long time. But they're not going to have a Troy Smith, so the fans can erase all that. I mean, that's Mr. Elusive, Heisman Trophy winner.
So 1st and 10 for Youngstown State. from the 30-yard line. 29 seconds left to go. They've got a couple of timeouts remaining. And Edwards will get the call. He's done a good job since he's been in there. Jordan Edwards, Jabari Scott got the start, but Edwards, the redshirt freshman from Sandusky, Ohio, has done a nice job. As they're going to just let the clock run here now. So this was a first half where Ohio State, they had to struggle. Youngstown State really did a terrific job defensively, particularly against the run. They had that one nice drive that resulted in a field goal. So it was a good first half of football, Mike.
Very good first half. And I think these coaches found out, what the talent level is in this field. We could play with these guys, and, given the right opportunity, we need to get some turnovers. The coaches talked about getting turnovers defensively for your Youngstown State, and they haven't gotten one yet today.
21-3 here at halftime at Ohio Stadium, with the Buckeyes leading the Penguins. First ever meeting between these two schools. So a couple of freshmen come up big. Sanzenbacher gets the touchdown reception from Beckman, and then Sane takes it in from a yard out. 21-3 at halftime. Ohio State leading the way as we've reached halftime here in Columbus. Welcome back at halftime. Ohio State leading 21-3, and Rob Harley had a chance to talk to Coach Jim Tressel. Rob?
Thanks a lot, Roger. Here with Coach Tressel. Coach, in the first half, you guys have had some problems down the red zone. What do you do in the second half to overcome some of those woes?
Well, they're doing a nice job penetrating a little bit on us, and you've got to play low and play hard. You don't practice a whole bunch of goal line. You don't live it up too much in practice and so forth. But we got to do a better job. Obviously, we have to hold on the football. I was afraid we lost the football down there, but it's going to be some great stuff to look at. YSU was going to come in here and play hard. They have a veteran offense, and they've been moving the ball around a little bit. We've got a challenge to keep going.
Well, both Beckman and Schoenhoff have got a chance to be under center. How would you grade them out right now in their first half performances?
Well, there's some good things that they did, but there's some great things that we'll be able to talk about that we've got to improve upon. And again, first time out there, I'm pleased. We're getting good effort, but we're not near as good as we need to be.
All right, thanks, Coach. Have a good luck in the second half. Back to you, Roger.
All right, Rob, thank you very much. 21-3 here at halftime, and right now we'd like to welcome a very special guest, the man who won the Heisman Trophy in '74 and '75, Archie Griffin. Archie, great to have you with us.
Well, great to be with you, Roger.
Good. Let's talk about that first half. I mean, Youngstown State put up a pretty good fight. 21-3, though, Ohio State's got the lead.
Well, I'll tell you what, I expected that because Youngstown State is a very proud program, and Jim Tressel kind of set the standard for that program, and they played very, very well.
What about the running backs? Let's get your a couple of the young guys that got in there. Brandon Sane, a young man, got in there today.
And I was very impressed with Brandon. I thought he ran hard, looked real quick, and he's quite strong. And I think he's got a good career ahead of him here at Ohio State. And certainly the Wells fellas, they both do a great job. You got one that's big and strong, and you got one that's really, really quick that really makes people miss him. And there's a good change up there.
Archie, for the Big Ten Network and all the listening audience throughout the country, what are your roles now at the university? You're involved with the Alumni Association. Do you have any involvement with the football program at all?
Well, I'm president and CEO of the Ohio State University Alumni Association, an association that I'm extremely proud to be a part of because we're 130,000 members strong, and we really love this great university. I don't have any real responsibility with football right now. I'm really in charge of that Alumni Association, and again, it's an organization that we're trying to continue to grow. We're behind Penn State right now as far as numbers are concerned, and we're trying to make that grow. Try to catch those guys.
Well, still a great experience here at Ohio Stadium, isn't it? Every Saturday afternoon.
Oh, it is. It's actually unbelievable when you think about the fact that you get 105,000 people in this stadium and to watch the Buckeyes play, and you know that people want to be here, and that's so exciting.
Anderson Russell, number 21, with that kick return there that brings the football out to the 37-yard line. So Archie, hang in here with us. We'll watch this second half begin here as the Ohio State Buckeyes take the field. Todd Beckman got his first start today. Your thoughts on him so far?
Well, I've been impressed with Todd. I mean, he's been waiting for his turn to come about, and I think he's done a really nice job with it. And we've got a few good quarterbacks, and certainly Schoenhoff has done a great job also.
First and 10, 37-yard line, and some movement back there, and there's the flag comes out. The fullback, Deontay Johnson.
Ball start, number 49, offense.
Mike,
5-yard penalty remains First down.
You saw what Deontay saw, right? There was a guy coming on the edge right there. He just leaned a little bit.
Well, he leaned that 265-pound body. He's going to move forward. Actually, 234. I'm sorry, Deontay. But the thing with a fullback, you could do that, just scramble and go in motion. And there's a captain on your team. The guy was respected by his players. You got to learn from that mistake.
So first down at 15, ball back at the 32. Hartline split to the near side. Rubisky to the top of your screen. Beanie Wells taking it right up the middle, and some good blocking right there. And you know, Mike and I, Archie, were talking during the first half that the offensive line might have gotten a little talking to over on the sideline. Did you catch that?
I think they probably did get some talking to, because certainly down in the goal line situations, you expect them to be able to move the ball in there a lot better than they did.
So a gain of 4 there. That'll bring up a second down and 11. The tight end Jake Ballard, 86, a sophomore from Springboro, Ohio, has checked into the game as Hartline comes to the near side split. Rubisky to the top, and the lone setback is 28, Beanie Wells. Beckman, pressure on him, throws it out to the far side. Catch is made over there, and across the 45 to the 46-yard line. That was Rory Nickel, the tight end, the junior from Beaver, Pennsylvania. So Beckman had some pressure. He hung in there that time, Mike, and made the throw.
Well, that's what you got to do as a quarterback, hang in there to the last second. They had a busted coverage there. They let Nichols go to the sideline untouched. But this guy's got to be productive. Rory Nichols for the Buckeyes this year. He's a tight end that had 13 receptions last year. And like I said, early development for a quarterback, a tight end usually gets open the quickest and most often. And you just listen to them. They'll tell you that every time. I'm open. I'm open.
Third down and 1. Terry was the guy that came through that time and made the hit. And that'll be close to the first down with Wells carrying the ball. Rashawn Simons was there on the stop for Youngstown State. And Archie, let me move the cord. Yeah, you got to turn to your. It's kind of like dancing up here sometimes, you know, when you got all these headsets and cords on. We want to thank you a lot for dropping by. It was always great. Always great. I'm back in Archie's day, you know, and so I remember seeing you play so much. It was great thrills.
Well, I appreciate that. And it's great seeing T-Zach.
Yeah, we've always stayed in touch. He's one of the
Archie,
greatest Buckeyes ever.
Much.
Well, thank you.
Okay, thanks for dropping by. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Here it is.
First and 10 now. 47-yard line. Just underway, second half here at Ohio Stadium. 21-3, Buckeyes leading it. Beckman throwing to the far side, and Rubisky makes the catch. Had to go down, kind of a shoestring variety over there. D'Angelo Wilson was on the coverage.
You know, you're starting to see the game unfolding. Youngstown State is bringing that 8th defender in the box, and they're going single coverage on the outside with their young corners. And it just becomes a pitch and catch for the quarterback and receiver on the outside. So, you know, sometimes they're getting through in penetration when they're blitzing and challenging Beckman, but that last play there, he had an open alley to throw, no one in his way. I'm going to start to see Youngstown State bring a little bit more pressure up the middle of the field to get in his face.
Sanzenbacher in the game now on a second down and 4, and once again, Johnson just a little lean forward.
Number 49, offense. 5-yard penalty, remains. Second down.
You know, you don't really expect that out of a senior.
No.
But there's obviously something there that's causing him a problem today. You know, and it can be, Mike, new quarterback cadence, that sort of thing. You know?
New quarterback cadence, definitely. But they've had a lot of reps throughout the fall, throughout the, you know, early part of summer. But, you know, for Deontay Johnson, he's a captain. You're not supposed to have pre-snap penalties. And he's going to learn from that greatly because Coach Tressel won't keep him in the ballgame. He's only allowed so many snaps.
On 2nd and 9, they give it to Beanie Wells. Look at him spin. Look at him roll. Look at him go inside the 35 down to the 32-yard line. D'Angelo Wilson finally makes the stop.
We take Deontay Johnson out of the game because he had some costly mistakes. You don't have a lead blocker, so you become your own lead blocker. And the best way to do it is to keep those feet going, turn, twist, do whatever it takes. And this is a straight lead play. You get 64 up on the linebacker. That's Cordell, Jim Cordell, center. And Beanie Wells does the rest.
Now Deontay Johnson back in there now on a 1st and 10 from the 32-yard line. And Beanie gets the call again, and nothing going on the left side. Good job by Youngstown State right there. I'll tell you, Michael Savage, one of the players in there on the stop. We've called the number of Vince Sgliata a number of times as he's come up and done some good work.
You know, one thing they do when they get double teamed, they just drop down to the ground, and it causes a big pile up. And the running back is so close to the line of scrimmage, you can't make an adjustment.
When we asked the Ohio State coaches about the defense for Youngstown State, I mean, Michael Savage was the guy they talked about.
Yeah, exactly.
6'2", 300-pounder, 54 tackles a year ago. Number 96, a junior from Hartsdale, New York. He's been in the middle of everything today. 2nd and 11. Beckman throwing near side. Robisky's got it. And inside the 10, down to the 9. Dorian Chenault was there to make the tackle. So Beckman and Robisky have hooked up a number of times today. 28 yards on the pickup.
Well, we've seen this a couple times today. Brian Robisky does a nice job not only catching the football, but delivering a blow after he secures the football down in his chest. But usually when you get close to the sideline, when you catch the football, you know you're going to get popped pretty quickly. So he's experienced there.
1st and goal from the 9-yard line, and Beckman will hand it off to Beanie Wells, and he's met immediately there by Dorian Chenault, the safety out of McKinley High in Canton, Ohio. Here's a Buffalo Wild Wings matchup. Tom Zetz and Todd Beckman.
2 Ohio products, 2 Ohio natives, one from St. Henry, one from Boardman, Ohio.
One's a career, another's a day. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Beckman just, you know, hadn't had many opportunities until this day.
He's getting a late start.
2nd and goal from the 7-yard line out. Mo Wells splits out to the near side, and Beckman throwing it down the middle, and well, I'll tell you what, in the hands and out of the hands of his tight end there.
Yeah, Rory Nickel
had a good shot at it.
They bring the blitz off the left side. They bring the Sam linebacker and a strong safety. And it's a blitz zone concept. I'm sure Todd Beckman, I know I would like to have that pass back because you just take your time, set your feet. And here we are in the red zone again. They're struggling a little bit inside the red zone.
Yeah, you as a quarterback, you would like to see that not counted as an incomplete pass for a quarterback, but as a drop for the receiver.
Exactly.
Yeah, 3rd and goal from the 7-yard line. Beckman wants to throw again. He fires it in the end zone. He was looking for that same route that he found Sansenbacher on earlier, and the Youngstown State defense came up and made a good play.
I can't tell you how much of this film is going to be a learning experience for Todd Beckman. You know, when you're at the heat of the battle, you think you see one thing, then things develop a little bit. But when you throw late over the middle, things happen.
Rashawn
Simons just reads his eyes the whole time. He had somebody underneath, somebody flashed in front of him underneath, and now the quarterbacks in the sideline are talking about it. We've been there before. We repped this before, and we're going to learn from it.
And from the 14-yard line, Ryan Pretorius with the field goal, and it's good. So his 2nd of the day, 24 yards, and with 9:41 to go in the 3rd, Ohio State has increased their lead over Youngstown State to 24-3. And welcome back. 24-3 here. The Buckeyes leading the way. And hey, Big Ten fans, next Saturday the action continues on the Big Ten Network. It all starts with the pregame show. Then Akron will travel here to the Horseshoe to battle the Buckeyes, one of 3 Ohio teams Ohio State plays this year. Besides Youngstown State, they also have Kent State, so be sure to catch that. Then in primetime, Syracuse looks to avenge last season's loss to the Iowa Hawkeyes. Syracuse lost to Washington last night. What about Iowa this year, Mike?
Iowa's got a new quarterback in Jay Christensen, sophomore candidate. You know, the upside there is he's young and he has great opportunity, but Kirk Ferentz will definitely rebound this year.
There'll be other regional games, so check your local listings. All the action next Saturday right here on the Big Ten Network. Great to be with you. Over 102,000 today here at the Horseshoe as Ohio State will have Ryan Pretorius kick it off. And back deep, D'Angelo Wilson, and he will not be bringing that back. So
first touchback.
Yeah, I mean, we've been watching the new rule kicking off from the 30-yard line today, and that's the first one.
Remember, Coach Trussell said that when they first started it, these guys were booming them from the 35-yard line through the end zone, through the uprights. You move them back 5 yards, and they can't even get to the 5-yard line.
Yeah, he said they're getting it inside the 10 maybe.
That just took them a little while to get used to it, get their blood flowing a little bit.
Well, that was a good drive for Ohio State. 11 plays, 56 yards. 5 minutes, 14 seconds, 24-yard field goal for Pretorius on 1st and 10 now for Youngstown State. From the 20-yard line, Jabari Scott is in there at running back number 34, and Zetz will throw it underneath, ball being juggled. Luis Irizarry, the intended receiver. Good coverage right there. A couple of guys on him, and now penalty marker comes down way over here on the near side, away from the play.
Pass interference. 33. Defense. Spot foul.
Leonidas.
Automatic. First down.
I mean, I think it's a questionable call. You got your line judge on the left side. Usually the umpire is watching the offensive lineman play. He must have hooked him with his left arm. But that flag came in late from the linesman on the left side. That's still questionable, but that's why they're officials. They make the right calls on the field.
So 1st and 10 now, as the ball will be at the 23-yard line. 9:36 left to go, third quarter, and Jabari Scott gets the handoff, trying the left side, and a gain of a couple there. Might have been just a little bit of juggling there on that handoff between Zetz and Jabari Scott, who really didn't play much in the second quarter as Jordan Edwards came in and did a fine job. There's Scott out of San Antonio, Texas. So they've been able to go into Texas and bring a couple of kids out of the Lone Star State. John Haycock in his 7th year as a head coach. He, of course, was an assistant to Jim Tressel at Youngstown. Went to Indiana for a couple of years.
Two-time defending Gateway Conference champs. Going for 3 in a row this year.
2nd and 7. Play action. Zetz now looking near side, and ball is overthrown. The intended receiver was Dustin Helly.
And James Laurinaitis was like a sniper in that play. He saw the quarterback roll the pocket a little bit. And he just took off like he was pursuing the quarterback or doing some. But you know, that's the instincts that this Nagurski Award winner has. As soon as he trusts it, he believes it, and there he is right in his face. Forced the pass a little bit high.
Youngstown State averaged over 31 points a game last year. They've only put 3 on the board so far here today. On a 3rd down and 7 from the 26-yard line. Senior quarterback and captain Tom Zetz will let it go, and incomplete. The intended receiver is tight end Luis Irizarry, and the ball was right there. He couldn't pull it in. Anderson Russell was there on the coverage.
Tom Zetz did exactly what he was coached to do. Anticipate the throw out of the break. Irizarry let the ball get into his face mask too quickly. You know, it's one of those opportunities that was missed to get another set of downs for your offense. You're going to see a lot of those completions throughout the year for these Youngstown State Penguins. Irizarry from Zetz. They're going to have a lot of hookups.
Now, Irizarry's probably his most trusted receiver. I mean, returning from last year. So when in doubt, that's where he's going to look. And he's a terrific athlete. As Nowicki, who has struggled punting the ball today, that's a low line drive kick that Robisky will pick up at the 28-yard line. And he can move it about 4 yards up to the 32, where Lenny Wicks was down there to make the tackle. So we'll take a timeout. 8:39 to go in the third. Ohio State leading the way 24-3 on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon in Columbus, Ohio.
Welcome back to Columbus. Standing here with a familiar face here in Ohio, Anthony Gonzalez, first-round draft pick to the Indianapolis Colts. What's it? Last year you played with Heisman winner Troy Smith. Now you're playing with future Hall of Famer Peyton Manning. What's it been like learning from a guy like Peyton?
It's been great. I mean, you can't ask for a better quarterback to learn from, really. I mean, been in the same system his whole career pretty much, and knows the ins and outs, so he's really helped me a lot. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, let's talk Buckeyes now. Looking at this wide receiver group, who stands out to you as maybe the next go-to wide receiver?
I mean, Robo's having a pretty big day today, but and I'm sure he'll continue to do that. But you know, at Ohio State, the receivers are so strong that I feel like in any given week it could be anybody really. Similar to what we had last year and the year before, and so on. It's just kind of a product of being at Ohio State, I think.
Well, I saw you giving Brian Hartline some tips over there. Anything you can elaborate on for us?
Yeah, it wasn't anything big. I mean, he's just trying to keep his spirits up. Just, you know, telling him stay with it, stuff like that. Just typical football stuff.
Well, appreciate it. Good luck this season. Roger, back to you.
Okay, Rob, thank you very much. On a 2nd down and 6, Beckman is hit, loses the football, and is it covered up by Ohio State or Youngstown State? The Penguins players are saying they've got it. Let's see what the official says. And Youngstown State, John Pennick, it looked like number 70, got on the football. So Beckman back to throw.
Right-hand side of your screen comes unblocked. You got to slide the protection that way. Quarterback's got to do a better job.
Gliata was the guy that came and got him.
Well, Gliata was lining up there since the play was being lined up. Number 18, yeah. I mean, big misfortune for Ohio State. Great opportunity for Youngstown State. Here's a chance for them to throw one into the end zone quickly. That's usually what happens when there's a quick turnover, quick transition. You try to get the ball down the field and catch the defense on their heels.
Jabari Scott's the running back, first down at 10, 27-yard line, 7:49 to go in the third quarter, 24-3. Ohio State leads it. And they'll give it to number 7, to Michael Horn on the end around. He is being chased on the far side and dragged out of bounds by Larry Grant over there. Grant, the senior from San Francisco, California. He was a junior college All-American at City College of San Francisco. Played in 12 games a year ago. You saw he's got great speed. You saw him right there at 6'3", 225.
Well, here's another former running back out of high school. And he's starting to come into his own. And you can see those linebackers that were running backs at one point in time in their career. Very instinctive.
Gain of 2 on that play, second down and 8. Tom Zetz out of the shotgun. 2 receivers split to the near side. They'll hand it to Jabari Scott following his blockers, and Scott inside the 25 to the 24. Scott's 5'10", 191 pounds. So John Haycock, the Youngstown State coach, has used Scott in the first and third quarters so far. Jordan Edwards did awfully well in the second quarter. And now the Penguins faced with a 3rd down and 7. What do you think, Mike, the call might be here?
Well, I know defensively you can't simulate this in practice. You know, where a transition or a turnover happens, get on the field, holding the 3 and out. So I think Jim Haycock's really happy to see the situation given to his defense. But from an offensive standpoint, I think you got to move the pocket with Zetz. I think you get him out of the pocket, give him an opportunity to run pass option.
3rd down and 7. Dominic Barnes is split to the near side. Zetz throwing it down. Oh, nearly picked off. Right in the hands there of Anderson Russell, number 21. I mean, it was right in his numbers.
It looked like he was the primary receiver. On the right-hand side of your screen, number 21, Anderson Russell. The safety just undercuts the route. The ball was intended for Louis Arizari, but I don't think Tom Zetz ever saw that underneath defender, who happens to be their nickel back. The strong safety comes out and plays nickel on 3rd down. He suffered a knee injury last year against Iowa and recovered almost completely.
Now a field goal attempt for Youngstown State. Palmer will attempt the field goal. The ball will be spotted by Todd Rowan at the 31-yard line, make it a 41-yard attempt. And it's good. So Palmer has converted for the 2nd time today, and Youngstown State, after the turnover, able to cash in with a field goal. So 6:44 to go in the 3rd. Ohio State with a 24-6 lead over Youngstown State. Third quarter here at Ohio Stadium, and the Buckeyes lead the Penguins 24-6. And if you can't keep up with all the Saturday action, then catch up with Big Ten Extra Points. Every scoring play from every Big Ten game, all in one show. Big Ten Extra Points, Monday night, 7 Eastern, only on the Big Ten Network.
You should record it too. Watch it on Tuesday.
Absolutely.
We'll give you scores and more.
Anderson Russell, 21, and Brandon Sane, number 3, back to return the kick. Stephen blows to kick it off for Youngstown State, and over to the far side, and that will go out of bounds. So Anderson Russell did the right thing. He saw that football heading toward the sideline, just let it go.
Kick out of bounds. Ball be spotted. 35-yard line. 1st down.
Now let's check on our Cargill passing combinations. Beckman and Labisky, 8 receptions, 143 yards. So good work today.
It seemed like those two have spent a lot of time working together in the offseason, spring.
Well, I was interested to hear what Anthony Gonzalez had to say. What a great job he did. But, with Gonzalez and Ginn last year, I mean, what a combination those two. teamed up for 110 receptions and 17 touchdowns. As Beckman will start Ohio State 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line, and Mo Wells gets the call as he moves it up to the 40, a gain of about 5 right there. Number 6 Dorian Chenault, and 25 Jeremiah Wright, one of the captains for Youngstown State, coming up to make the stop. Wright's a great story, number 25. He's back this year on a medical hardship, hurt his knee in the first quarter of the Penn State game last year. Kind of an undersized linebacker, but a heck of a player.
Got a nose for the football. I know his position coach Jerry Osafsky says instinctive, but he just loves to knock you silly.
On 2nd and 5, Mo Wells gets the call, trying to take it up the middle, gain of about 2 there, and that should present Todd Beckman in Ohio State with a 3rd down and 3. Torrance Nicholson, redshirt freshman from right here in Columbus, Ohio, making the stop.
Again, these 3rd down situations, you really can't simulate these in practice. Here's an opportunity for Ohio State. You know, it's interesting how they don't huddle the receivers, you know, in the huddle. I mean, these guys deploy themselves openly in the field based on the formation call, but, you know, Beckman's got to convert here, give himself another opportunity.
Mo Wells and Beanie Wells are the split backs out of the shotgun, and Beckman immediately goes to Brian Hartline, and the sophomore from North Canton, Ohio, has got enough for the 1st down. So Hartline last year, 17 receptions, averaged 15 yards a catch, had a couple of touchdowns, and Rubisky just about the same numbers for those 2 backups from a year ago starting this year.
Yeah, Brian Hartline needs to get in the full. I think that's his 1st reception today. And here's a guy that has tremendous upside talent from Glen Oak High School, the state champion, 110 meters and 300-meter hurdles. So he's got the athleticism. Just have to give him more opportunities catching the football.
Clock running, 1st and 10. Beckman slips as he goes back. Now he sends it out to Mo Wells, and he gets it up to midfield. A gain of about 4 there before Jeremiah Wright. Just 5'10", 215 pounds from Orlando, Florida. Comes up to make the tackle.
But you know, if he can get his feet under him, get some open field, he could turn on those jets pretty quick. And nice awareness by Beckman. Even though you slip, you don't make a difficult play more challenging for you. You knew where your outlet was right in front of you. Nice job by Todd Beckman, being alert with where his check down receiver is located.
2nd down and 5 now, 4:30 left to go in the 3rd. Hartline split to the near side, Rubisky to the top of your screen. And Beckman will roll out looking for his tight end, and he's got him there. Jake Ballard, number 86, the big man, 6'7", 255 from Springboro, Ohio. And I know the coaches at Ohio State really feel in Nickel and Ballard, they got a couple special kids.
They got some special ones, and what happened underneath, Nickel was almost in the same line of flight of the football that Beckman was trying to deliver, but he was like a decoy. And that's what happens when you get those misdirection plays. You know, you have a sound running game. You could fake to one side and crush down that whole backside and give the quarterback easy vision down the field to pick and choose who he wants to throw to.
Football, the 38-yard line. Both receivers split to the near side. As Beckman looking now downfield, he's throwing it to Hartline, and nearly picking it off was Lenny Wicks. Boy, Hartline had some space, looked like he was open, but the ball might have been thrown just a little bit too far out to the right.
Well, they were repping this in practice the other day. It's a double post on the left-hand side, and you got to find that safety, that weak side safety, number 32. They went to a nickel defense, and Wicks dropped back to the center of the field. I mean, that could have been a potential turnover, but that's one of those things that you like the incompletion instead of the turnover. But Beckman's not going to get you into much trouble. That's one of those things where I think the quarterback coach Joe Daniels is going to correct, make sure he doesn't see that.
Mo Wells gets the call on a 2nd and 10, and just a couple there. Beckman now 14 of 20, 196 yards and a touchdown. That to Sanson Bacher early in the game. So now the Buckeyes facing a 3rd down and about 7. Ball spotted. They put it now at the 36-yard line. So call it 3rd and 8. Clock running. 3:30 to go in the 3rd. 24-6. Ohio State with the lead. And once again, this Youngstown State defense, I mean, really doing a terrific job. You know, last year they were known as sort of a bend but didn't break defense, and we've seen that here again today as Beckman with plenty of time will throw it out to the far side. Rubisky has got the 1st down. Well, he had it, and then he ran back, and then he ran forward again. You got to know where that marker is, as Blake Halverson came over to make the tackle, and that is a 1st down. So plenty of time that particular play for Todd Beckman.
Well, nice job by Beckman looking off to his left. You know, I think he wanted to come to his left based on the coverage, and he's looking this way. He's trying to hold the safety in the middle of the field, but he knows where his outlet is. And that's the important thing as you mature through this game experience. Looking left, throwing right, knowing where your Robisky is located, and happens to be his best receiver today.
Now the freshman Brandon Sane in the game, and he gets the football. He covers it up nicely as he moves forward and gains about 3 or 4 yards. You know, the one thing I've noticed about Sane so far in his limited duty, he's not trying to do too much, and in the process he's doing a lot.
Absolutely, and a lot of times, like you said, a freshman will be really anxious. He'll want to hit the hole real fast before it develops. And there's Jim Bowman, the offensive coordinator, who really likes this guy. I mean, you give me an offensive line, you give me some powerful running backs, and I can make the way for you. But it's going to take some time for this to gel. It's going to take some time for the offensive line to get in sync with the running game. And here we got another substitution penalty.
Illegal substitution. Ohio State had 12 players break the huddle. That's a 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
When's the last time you saw 3 of those in one game, huh?
It's been a while, and it's one of those rules here where they're trying to be deceptive in the huddle. I can see if 12 guys were in the huddle, but as long as someone's leaving before the ball is snapped or before you break the huddle, that's one of those things the NCAA has to look at. And you know, one major rule change this year was obviously moving the kickoff back to the 30-yard line, but there are a couple of things they're always reviewing. They're always looking to better the game, giving the fans something more to appreciate. But any penalty that happens before the ball snap is not good if you're on offense.
Yeah, that's right. 2:10 left to go in the third. Second down now and 10. Sane still in there at running back. And another penalty marker.
False start, number 86, offense. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Jake Ballard, the tight end. You know, those penalties sometimes become contagious. I mean, you get one going and now you get another one. And
absolutely. And it doesn't allow you to get into any rhythm. I mean, here you lined up 1st and 10. You know, now it's 2nd and 15.
You see Sanzenbacher heading to the top. The wide receivers looking down at the play list they've got on their sleeve, on their tape to their wristband.
I think they're getting calls from the sideline from their receiver coach.
2nd and 15, and Beckman straight back, looking down the middle and battling, and penalty markers go down. Robisky, the intended receiver, he almost gathered it in, but man, he had a bunch of folks around him. Pretty good throw right there. Gulata was one of the guys back on the coverage.
Well, watch your quarterback. He turns his back to center, so it's tough for him to get the strong safety in his position. The ball hangs a little bit.
Yeah, but Beckman got hit just as he threw it.
I think the Jarvis Richardson, or Richards, did a nice job.
Number 8.
I grabbed the shoulder pad right there.
15 yards, previous spot, automatic first down.
You know, it's interesting, Roger. You do such a good job for 20 yards down the field. In the last yard, you do something that you're taught not to do.
Exactly.
It's just an instinctive play by those defenders, and you're on an island out there. You know, keep your hands. You know that's a penalty, so just keep your hands away from. Don't give the referee or official an opportunity to make a call.
So 1st and 10. Football placed at the 16-yard line. Hartline and Sanzenbacher split to the near side. Deontay Johnson back in there, and Sane will get the call. Look at him move outside. Penalty marker goes down. What a move by Sane. Touchdown, Ohio State. But we've got a penalty marker back at the 20. That was impressive right there.
Very impressive. Very patient. But this is going to come back because somebody on the backside had no reason to hold on a running play.
Number 63, offense. 10-yard penalty, previous spot, repeat, first down.
That's Ben Person, the junior out of Xenia, Ohio.
Right guard, number 63, grabs him. Okay, that's almost a wrestling move right there. Torrance Nicholson did a good job of penetration.
That's a takedown is what that is.
That's a 2-point takedown for him. But Torrance Nicholson beat him up on the play, and Person didn't have anything to do with the play. Just let him go.
How about the way Sane runs, huh?
Smooth.
Yeah, isn't he smooth?
Very smooth.
So now 1st and 20. Football back at the 26-yard line. 1:23 to go in the third. Sane the lone setback. 3 wide receivers. And Beckman throwing it outside to Hartline. Hartline inside the 10, down to the 8. Nick Mernadikas was the man that made the tackle.
And if you were a fan of last year, Ohio State did this with Anthony Gonzalez. Now Brian Hartline does the same thing. It's just an option read where you go down 5 yards and you work away from the defender. And as long as the quarterback finds the defender inside, he can throw the ball comfortably outside. Let the receiver turn his skills on to some extra yards after the catch.
2nd and 2 from the 8. Sane still in there. He's the deep back. Johnson in front of him. Sane gets the call. Sane's inside the 5. He's got the first down. James Terry made the stop. So after 3 penalties that set them back, this has been a long and time-consuming drive.
A little adversity, you know, builds character, and I think this offense is starting to come together. I know the fans are starting to get excited about this Brandon Sane. You know, up here we could see smoothness and shiftiness down the field, and that makes the whole group of running backs compete even harder. Now here's an opportunity for a young freshman, and hopefully he can finish it off here.
1st and goal from the 3. Sane gets the call and driving forward to about the 1, and that'll be the last play of the 3rd quarter. Vince Galata came up to make the tackle as the clock winds down. Very impressive true freshman Brandon Sane from Piqua, Ohio. Mr. Football in Ohio last year. We've completed 3 quarters of play from Ohio Stadium. The Buckeyes of Ohio State lead the Penguins of Youngstown State 24-6.
You're watching the Big Ten Network.
Welcome back to Ohio Stadium as we get set to start the final 15 minutes. Ohio State leading Youngstown State 24-6, and the Buckeyes have it. 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line. Freshman running back Brandon Sane, number 3 in there. 8 carries, 40 yards so far today. The fullback Johnson in front of him. Sane gets the call. Sane not able to make a dent in that Youngstown State defense. Over on the right side, Jeremiah Wright came up to make the stop. And we just will tell you once again how impressed we've been with Youngstown State, their defensive side, particularly against the run today.
They've done a good job getting their, talk about time and time again, getting their pad level down. And it looks like they've had a lot of goal line scrimmages because they didn't know how to come off the football and pop them right in the mouth. And Ohio State has yet to really challenge the perimeter. They really haven't gotten around the edge yet this afternoon.
3rd and goal from the 1-yard line. Sane is still in there. 1 wide receiver. Rubisky split to the top. And Beckman wants to throw it. Plenty of time. Now going to the near side, and he's got a man. Number 16 over there, Trevor Robinson. 5th-year senior out of Richmond, Virginia. He's a fullback. And what a great moment for this young man who's played mostly on special teams in his career.
Yeah, that's one of those biscuits he gets after all the hard work he does. And very aware of Todd Beckman in the pocket. Usually want your quarterback to stay alive when he gets inside the red zone, but he knows where his checkdowns are, and that's the important thing. That's the maturation of this. He's been in the offense for a long time.
14 plays, 65 yards, 733, and Pretorius with the extra point. So the score now 31-6, Ohio State. And let's send it down to Rob Harley with a couple special guests.
All right, thanks, Roger. Buckeye Country will recognize these guys. Standing here with Mike Conley Jr. and head basketball coach Thad Matta. First to Mike, what's it like coming back to this college atmosphere after you left it a year ago?
It's just exactly how I left it, man. The fans are great, and they give you a lot of support, and I'm just happy to be back here supporting the football team.
Now, I understand you helped coach in the spring. Any chance you're going to help today?
I tried to get down here on the field early and get a little pass and help out with the team, but obviously they don't need any help. They're doing just fine without me.
All right, thank you so much. Coach, when we were standing here, you mentioned this atmosphere. Is there anything else like Big Ten football?
There really isn't, and I've said this all along from day one I've been here. When you walk into the shoe, you feel the power and the passion that these fans have for the Buckeyes, and you know, fortunately for us, we've been able to translate that into the basketball arena, and there is nowhere better to be on a Saturday than the shoe.
Well, you're going to be able to take a lot more from this football field. Word is that maybe Cameron Hayward, D lineman, will be playing basketball for you this winter.
Yeah, and you know, I told Coach Trussell we needed some toughness on our team, and he says, I got just the guy for you. And but no, we've seen Cameron, you know, I watched him in the AAU circuit, and
glad that he's a Buckeye. I know they're counting on him this year for big things.
Well, I can tell you had some hospital stays. You going to be okay to prowl the sidelines?
Absolutely. I'm getting in shape and you know, a couple of surgeries this summer, but everything's going as planned, and we'll be ready to go on October 12th.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
Roger, back to you.
All right, Rob, thank you very much. So the kick returned out to the 28-yard line. 31-6, Ohio State leads it.
What do you think about that? Ohio State, Florida in football, and Ohio State and Florida in the basketball championships. I mean, it's
cool.
Once in a lifetime.
It'd be a lot of fun. Handoff stop behind the line of scrimmage. Russ Holman came up to make the tackle. Sophomore from Coldwater, Ohio. Jordan Edwards was the ball carrier.
Well, we had an injury earlier to Lawrence Wilson, number 87. And
new quarterback, Tom. Mike just wanted to let you know Orlando Williams has checked into the game, number 1, a junior out of Warner Robins, Georgia.
I think Coach Haycock told us they could try to get him some reps in there. He's a receiver / quarterback.
On 2nd and 10, the handoff, and Edwards moving ahead to the 34-yard line. Larry Grant was there to make the tackle. Well, you know, we've been talking about a day of firsts. You know, our broadcast here on the Big Ten Network, we saw Dane Fansenbacher get his first catch for a touchdown earlier today. And how about senior Trevor Robinson? His first reception in his career here, and that was for a touchdown too, huh? What a day of first.
Well, I know he's elated. I know those fullbacks don't get it thrown to him that often, but from Richmond, Virginia, I'm sure his family came in town, and a nice way to start off your senior year and your final year at Ohio State.
3rd down and 4. Williams will move out and throw on the run, and he's got a man over there to Michael Horn. So good throw right there, and just enough for the first down at the 39-yard line.
Orlando Williams, he's had a couple injuries this fall camp, but does a nice job getting out of the pocket and getting his shoulder square to the receiver. Nice job straddling the sideline by DeMichael Horn. You like to see Youngstown State continue to get better. They're going to try to put drives together, make first downs. You know, there's a lot to be learned when you come down to the horseshoe and play a formidable opponent like Ohio State, and they're still fighting out there.
12:40 left to go here in this football game. 1st and 10 from the 33, and Williams will take it himself, just driving ahead. And Orlando Williams gets about 4 yards. Kurt Coleman came up to make the tackle, sophomore from Clayton, Ohio.
You know, a lot of these coaches here today, you know, Coach John Haycock and Coach Jim Tressel, you know, they're trying to put all the pieces of the puzzle together for their season. They're trying to get as much opportunities on the field with their personnel groupings and their players on the field to kind of make better evaluations as they move in. And the greatest, you know, jumps in college football from week 1 to week 2 when you find out more about yourself.
On 2nd down and 4, Jordan Edwards maybe gets a yard. Good job of penetration by that Ohio State defensive line there to stop anything from happening. And that'll bring up a 3rd down now for Youngstown State. You know, it's interesting. We talked about some of the games that Ohio State has this year. 3 games against schools from Ohio, Akron coming up, and then they've got Kent State later on. Youngstown State plays South Dakota State. So that's going to be quite a transition for Ohio State to South Dakota State. Huh?
Absolutely. I'm sure they won't have any problems getting geared up for them.
On 3rd down and 4. Boy, nice fake right there, and number 1 for Orlando Williams in the midfield, and he's got the first down.
These are quality reps for this young quarterback. Doesn't have any game experience whatsoever, but the coaches feel it's better to get 2 quarterbacks ready throughout the course of the season. Nice job at that read zone inside, pulls the ball out and gets vertically down the field. There's your offense coordinator, Brian Wright, making the calls here today down in Buckeye land.
Williams can also play wide receiver, played at Georgia Military College. And he is stuffed right there. Nothing going. He's dropped at the line of scrimmage by Ross Holman. Holman 51. Last year as a true freshman had 28 tackles.
This guy's a pounder. And this guy was a tremendous running back in the state of Ohio from Coldwater, Ohio. But he knows how to pop. Coaches talk about him. I'll make an impact in the special teams, but if something were to happen to Marcus Freeman. And Holman had some reps last year with the regular defense latter part of the season.
2nd down and 10. Ball right at midfield. Williams at Georgia Military Junior College helped lead them to a #2 national ranking last year, and now he is in a big heap of trouble. And you might be able to do that in junior college, but you can't do it at Ohio Stadium. Robert Rose went and found him, the sophomore from Cleveland.
Well, Robert Rose is a guy that's aggressive from Glenville High School up there in Cleveland. And that pursuit's eventually going to catch up with you. As soon as you turn back to the inside, those guys are coming. They're hunting for the football.
And now, after that, you've got a 3rd down and 22. What was that play called?
3rd down on the bus ride. I tell you what, you like those little passes, that little slant routes that they catch early and able to convert to a 3rd down.
Williams has got some room to run across the 45 to the 46-yard line, where Anderson Russell came up to make the stop.
I know the spectator at home, you know, when it is a 3rd and 22 situation, you throw the ball 5 yards downfield because there's nothing else open. They say, why in the heck aren't you throwing the ball 23 yards down the field? Well, they might be covered. You ever think of that? The only option they give you is underneath, and just trying to live for another play.
Ben Nowicki to punt it in his first day. That is his first really good kick. And Robisky down there with the fair catch at the 11. So it took this young junior college transfer from Mesa, Arizona a while, but Ben Nowicki finally hit a good punt. We got a timeout, 8:52 left to go, 31-6 Ohio State. And welcome back here to Ohio Stadium. 8:52 left to go, with Ohio State leading Youngstown State 31-6, as the Buckeyes will have it 1st and 10 from back on the 12-yard line. And number 7 now in at quarterback, Antonio Henton, a redshirt freshman out of Fort Valley, Georgia, 6'2", 232. And he is getting his first action today as he hands it off to Mo Wells. And look at the hole right there. And Wells across the 35, and that might be a late hit. It is. The flag goes down. D'Angelo Wilson was the man running with him down there and knocked him out of bounds late. So 23 yards on the pickup from Mo Wells.
Nice job by Henton handing the football off and just going based on what he saw from the front.
Dead ball.
You give Mo Wells a chance in the secondary.
Number 4, defense, late hit, out of bounds. 15-yard
Wilson is a transfer from Nevada.
1st down.
Seems like that was the first opportunity for D'Angelo Wilson to get a pop on somebody. That's the first open field run we've seen in a while for Ohio State. They only had 94 yards rushing going into the 4th quarter. That'll help out the stats a little bit.
So the ball now placed at the 47-yard line, 1st and 10. Mo Wells still in there at running back. He gets the call again on the right side, and he is down to the 45, where he is thrown back there by Mike Barlick, number 44. Talk about Henton. What type of quarterback is he?
Well, he's a multi-purpose quarterback. He has dual functions. He runs with the football extremely well. As far as the passing game, he's still evolving with the offense. He hasn't had a lot of reps behind center. You know, he's a sophomore in the system, and this is some quality reps for him right now. You know, if they do go to a passing game with him, it'll be something with a 1-2 option, and the 3rd option might be for him to run. But a strong arm quarterback, as you would expect, coming out of a good program down in Georgia.
Getting his first action for Ohio State, 2nd and 7. The handoff now going around the left side. Beanie Wells, and leans forwards, got the 1st down, still going at the 35-yard line. I want to remind you folks, as we've got 7:56 left to go in this game, we'll be taking you to the game between Michigan and Appalachian State. That's going to be coming up after the conclusion of this game, so we'll be joining that game in progress. It's a heck of a football game, and Appalachian had the lead early in that game, so I'm sure it'll be an exciting conclusion right here on Big Ten Football Saturday.
And Appalachian State's a team that beat Youngstown State to go on and win a Division I AA championship last year. So there's some quality opponents playing some big-time Big Ten football teams.
1st and 10. 37-yard line out of the shotgun. Henton looking down the middle. Sanzenbacher had it right in his hands, and a lot of turf in front of him to the end zone.
Well, he puts a pretty good zip on that football, and He knew exactly where he was going in a quick slant route out of the shotgun set. But Sanzenbacher was going to go ahead and run before he made the reception. And I tell you, when he split those safeties in a slant route from the inside, no one can tackle you. There's no one in the middle of the field once you split those safeties on a quick slant route.
Well, he made a terrific catch early in the game, and one that should have been made.
It's a humbling game.
It is. And he's a true freshman. Now 2nd and 10. There's Sanzenbacher in motion to the top. Hinton wants to throw it again, looking downfield, and got his man. That's Washington, and Torian Washington takes it in for a touchdown. Washington, the freshman out of Detroit, Michigan, and the touchdown pass from Antonio Hinton.
A lot of firsts today.
Boy, I'll tell you what, the freshmen are showing up big time for Ohio State.
The highly sought-out receiver, Torian Washington, number 19, comes across the field on a 15-yard in route. He does everything else to the open field after he catches the ball. But nice delivery by Antonio Hinton, his first ever touchdown pass. Torian Washington, his first ever touchdown reception. And this is our first broadcast on the Big Ten Network.
Yeah. 5 plays, 88 yards. It took 1 minute and 8 seconds. The extra point was good at Ohio State. Now with 7:44 to go, leads at 38-6 over Youngstown State. Hinton to Washington.
This is the Big Ten Network.
Dave Revson in our Big Ten Network studios. Michigan trying to avoid the shocking upset at the hands of Appalachian State. Down 11 here in the third. Mike Hart, his 2nd touchdown of the game. They botched the extra point, though, Roger. Still down 5.
Dave, thank you very much. There was a groan from the crowd here because they were just running through some scores and they didn't get that Michigan score. So, Dave, thank you very much for the update. 38-6 here, Ohio State leading Youngstown State.
Remember last year, Northwestern and Indiana in their openers, they lost to New Hampshire and Southern Illinois in their openers. Something's brewing up there in Ann Arbor.
Pretorius to kick it off. DeMichael Horn, number 7. Dustin Helly, 22, back deep for the Penguins. And that kick to Helly at the 7-yard line. He gathers it in. And he is brought down at the 20. Let's take a look at the 2006 Big Ten standings, brought to you by U.S. Bank. And of course, Ohio State, they spent the first 12 weeks last season as the #1 team in the polls. They beat a couple of #2s in Michigan and Texas before losing in that BCS title game. But Jim Tressel, a 2-time Big Ten champion. Well, I'll tell you, in 6 years, he's taken the Buckeyes to 6 bowl games, 4 BCS bids, 2 19-game winning streaks. He's 5-1 against Michigan. All right. And he has just been amazing. 4 Division I AA titles at Youngstown State. That 5-1 against Michigan is really important, isn't it, Mike?
That's big. That's big to the whole state of Michigan, plus the alumni base. But
on 1st and 10, Brandon Nicholson, a junior out of Springfield, Ohio, gets the call, and he does a good job around the right side, picking up about 9. 7:25 left to go.
You know, Roger, if we go back to the standings from last year, you know, a lot of predictions this year. You're looking at Michigan and getting a lot of seniors back. Chad Henne. Wisconsin has a new quarterback, but they got P.J. Hill. Ohio State and Wisconsin didn't play last year.
Penn State, I think, can surprise some people this year.
Absolutely. So you're looking at these bottom-tier teams at Illinois, Michigan State, Northwestern, Iowa. Can they advance and be a potential upset team for the top 3 teams? A lot of football yet to be played, and this is only opening day.
On 2nd and 1, Jordan Edwards got the handoff, but he was collared immediately by Thaddeus Gibson, and he's shown well on special teams today. Showed a great burst right there. Gibson, a redshirt freshman from Euclid, Ohio. Well, you know, the way the schedule sets up for Ohio State, it really does set up nicely.
It sets up nicely until that latter part of October. I mean, you look at
last 3-4 games.
Their opponents early. Time for them to gel, not to gel too quickly. But you still there's so much to be learned, you know, from your first game, second game, and right before you get into the Big Ten season, because you got to play your best games, not only at home, but definitely on the road to win as many as you can. And to go undefeated in the Big Ten last year, not many teams can do that week in and week out.
On 3rd down and 1, Orlando Williams bobbled that snap, but able to gather it in and then get the first down. So this young man has come into the game. When we talked early, John Haycock told us that you know, they'd had some injuries at the quarterback position. A guy, Todd Rowan, that's been in the program, stress fracture of the leg. But they've got a fine young freshman, Paul Casaro from Indianapolis, who they're very high on. But they were reluctant to put him into this situation, you know. Yeah. And so Williams, who can play wide receiver and also play some quarterback, is in the game right now for Youngstown State. And he's done fine.
And he could be an emergency solution for this team because they would like to redshirt Casaro if they can. I mean, there's a lot of going back and forth. Should we do this? Should we not do this? Based on Ohio State's sideline as far as redshirting personnel. But they got to make the same decisions on the other side too at Youngstown.
Let me ask you the question: as a quarterback, would it be better to say get some snaps, get some reps in live action, backing up a guy like Zetz, or is it better to sit on the sideline for an entire year and then just have to start, you know, cold the next year?
I know what a player would tell you.
Yeah.
Give me the reps.
Right.
But a coach has got to do what's best interest for the team and the program as a whole, because Zetz, you know, historically has always been a tough kid that stayed healthy, hasn't been injured a great deal, played early his freshman year, and often, you know, that's a great testimony for him, the way he works out in the weight room. He's a gym rat. 36 starts in major college football says a lot for an individual.
Well, he's first in career pass completion percentage, almost 59%. Third in number of passes, second in touchdown passes with 44. Spittler comes up there to make the tackle. Clock running, 4:35 left to go. Put yourself in the place of the Ohio State coaches. Has this game kind of gone according to plan, do you think, for them?
I think it has up until they got down to the goal line. I think they're going to be rather disappointed when you look at the film and saying we are better than the opponent. And the reason they were better in that play because our pad level wasn't down there. We didn't come off the ball with aggression. We didn't change the line of scrimmage. So, you know, these are things you can work on throughout the course of the week. You know, I think it's a humbling victory for them at the end of the day. There's a lot to be had here.
Second down and 10. The handoff to Brandon Nicholson, the junior, and Robert Rose there out of Cleveland. Played in 10 games last year, had 3 sacks. He's another, you know, one of these young players in that defensive line that's going to really see a lot of action this year.
Absolutely. And I think to expand upon what the coaches are looking for, I mean, we've only had 1 turnover today, and that was Beckman's fumble on that strip when he got sacked. And then the defense didn't create any turnovers, Ohio State's defense, against Youngstown State's offense. So they had an opportunity with Anderson Russell, but he dropped it.
Third down and 8 now. Ball at the 46-yard line. Orlando Williams will roll it out to the near side. And out of bounds at the 46-yard line, just about back to the line of scrimmage. That'll stop the clock. 3:21 left to go in the game. Well, it's been a spectacular day here. You know, I've come to Columbus many times through the years, doing a lot of golf tournaments here, also doing football. This is one of the best days. One of the best days I've seen in Columbus.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we'll get this weather tomorrow going back to my home. I love coming back here. It's a wonderful atmosphere. Columbus, Ohio Stadium. A lot of tradition, a lot of numbers.
Nowicki to punt it. Pressure was on. Did a good job getting away with it. Malcolm Jenkins will take it back to the near side. And Jenkins still on his feet. And Jenkins pushed out at about the 40-yard line. And Nowicki did a good job. Had some pressure on him that time. And he did a little sidewinder kick there. Timeout on the field. 3:10 left to go. Ohio State 38, Youngstown State 6. Big Ten Network Football is brought to you by U.S. Bank, home of the 5-star service guarantee. By Yield Guard VT Triple, the yield protection system. And by Buffalo Wild Wings. You have to be here. Welcome back. 3:10 left to go here. 38-6. Ohio State leads it. And the Buckeyes have it first and 10 at the 39-yard line. Robbie Schoenhoff back in at quarterback, the sophomore from Mason, Ohio. Out of the shotgun, he's going to swing it out to Mo Wells. Sanzenbacher got a block for him and a gain of about 4 right there. D'Angelo Wilson, transfer from the University of Nevada, came up to make the tackle. So all 3 quarterbacks playing today.
That makes the coach happy.
Yeah,
definitely. You can get reps, quality reps in there. And maybe on paper it was Coach Trussel's ideal setting, and for it to go out there and be able to experience it, he's got to be happy with getting these guys in the game.
Absolutely. Pick up a 4 there, 2nd down and 6. Out the 43-yard line. By the way, Ohio State and Youngstown State will play again next year here. Schoenhoff throwing it downfield, and the completion right there at the 49-yard line. Dane Sanzenbacher. You know, it was interesting going over the information on him coming out of high school. I mean, he had a great high school career, but in 7 playoff games, he caught 40 passes for 842 yards, 9 touchdowns, also had 40 tackles and 8 interceptions. I mean, in the big games, this guy played tremendous.
That says a lot for a high school athlete. He was definitely an asset for his ball club. You said 8 interceptions? 8?
Yeah, 8 in 7 games. Timeout on the field, 2:03 left to go. And Mike, how about your yield guard Big Ten defensive picks here?
Well, if you look at the course of the season, I mean, these guys had tremendous production last year. James Laurinaitis, a linebacker from Ohio State. Vernon Golston, you know, I think he's going to have a breakout year this year. Dan Connor, he is the linebacker at Penn State, linebacker U, and Jeremy Lehman was the leading tackler in the Big Ten last year. So these linebackers who are always around the football, they're on my watch list, you know, for the whole year, the yield guard VT triple.
Well, the yield guard, the defensive player of the game, James Laurinaitis, a couple solo tackles, 5 assisted tackles. There he is, number 33.
Not too much fat on his body.
No. On a 3rd and 1, Schoenhoff just leans forward, all 6'6" of him, and he has the 1st down. So now, other side of the coin, your Youngstown State, what do you take away from this game?
Well, we didn't turn the football over. That's first and foremost. We didn't have many injuries. I don't think anyone really got hurt out there, and it's something to build on. We know how to prepare. We prepared well. We just kind of ran out of time here today because we started getting some things going.
Schoenhoff will take it down to about the 41-yard line, just short of the 1st and 10 marker.
I mean, if we could play with that intensity level on the defensive line and the offensive line at times and put it together on a consistent basis.
Well, I was just so impressed with their defensive front and how well they did against, you know, this big group offensive line. Barton 300, Person 321, Cordell 302, Raring 345, Boone 6'8", 313. I mean, they did a heck of a job against the run today.
Yeah, and the only thing, they don't have a lot of depth. I mean, Ohio State has the depth area, but these guys are going to be
What did Coach
tomorrow.
say? The biggest difference is what, 22 scholarships or something like that? Because when you're, what's the difference in programs? Oh, 1 double A, you know? It's a scholarship.
Yep.
And so the top line kids can compete. Those kids can. And what you just said, Mike, is the truth. I mean, the depth. They got 63 players here today, and they're going to use every one of them.
And also what happens is they're going to get 20 extra plays on special teams because their starters are actually going out there and repping because they have to match, you know, the athletes on the other side of the ball in Division I level.
Less than a minute to go, 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line. Schoenhoff's going to roll out now as he's looking downfield, and the pass there at the 24-yard line, Torian Washington. And yes, are they calling it a catch? No, incomplete.
You're probably wondering why the quarterback at Ohio State still throwing the football, the score being 38-6. Well, this is his first game experience. And I think Coach Trussel's given him some basic passes to throw down the field. You know, nothing to run the score up or anything. And there's an opportunity for him to see some things in action, game-like action.
I want to remind you the Michigan-Appalachian State game after the completion of our game here. We'll be sending you to that game, and it should be a terrific finish. 2nd and 10, 37 seconds left to go. And Sane will take it just right up the middle. And that should just about do it for this first game for Ohio State here in 2007 against Youngstown State. First ever meeting between these two teams. Jim Tressel, the head coach at Ohio State, 15 years he was the head coach at Youngstown State. And the Cooper Tire big stop of the game from the first half. And there the coaches out at midfield. 38-6 the final. Ohio State defeats Youngstown State.
It's a former player, former coach as well.
Well, Mike, you know, we talked about the game, both sides, you know, what Ohio State comes away with, what Youngstown State comes away with. But, you know, all in all, this was a well-played football game.
Well-played football game. We talked about in the open as well. Who's going to replace the Teddy Gins and the Gonzaleses and the Pittmans? They're going to replace the running back. They're going to replace the receivers going down the field when Small gets healthy for Ohio State. But the quarterback position will not be like Troy Smith. He's just going to have to evolve from week in and week out. And this was a decent performance for him today, and I'm sure he's going to learn a lot in the film room tomorrow.
All right, Mike, great to be here at Ohio State with you in this first game with the Big Ten Network. Really enjoyed it. 38-6 the final. We saw some great play from some young players, some freshmen. Really stepped up today and did a terrific job. And it was wonderful seeing the senior quarterback from Youngstown State, Tom Zetz. He's had a great career there and should be